It's already been a wild day in the NBA, and free agency hasn't even officially started yet. Well, we'll be here when it does, right after this. What's up? What's happening? Welcome into the PHNX Suns free agent frenzy. I'm Gil. We got the Freckle Mama behind the Mac. We got Steven to my right and Eric to my left. And Eric suggested that since free agency doesn't start for the next 28 minutes, we could sit here in silence until that happens. But I don't know if that's the best idea.
I feel like we just sit here and just stare at our phones and refresh our feeds. I mean, because something crazy is happening every 5 seconds.
I'm about to grab a snack then, shoot.
It's been a wild day already. We got LeBron James saying he wants to move on. That's kind of funny.
Officially.
It was kind of funny. It was like the guys are ready to go to a different bar. You're like, nah, you guys can move on without me. That's what LeBron told the Lakers.
LeBron literally broke up on Twitter.
LeBron was like, yeah, y'all can move on without me.
He broke up on Twitter. Man,
we got Kawhi Leonard back to the Toronto Raptors.
Insane.
And what that means is neither of those guys are in LA anymore. That means that neither of those guys are in the Pacific Division, barring a LeBron to Golden State Warriors move.
Oh, and by the way, John Morant was traded yesterday.
He was traded yesterday to the Portland Trailblazers.
Dude, what is going on?
It's a lot. They said that it was going to be the most craziest offseason last season. I think that is this season. It's been wild.
I'm missing the biggest news.
Jamari Bouye.
No, not quite. Simone Fontecchio.
Oh, back to Miami.
Back to Miami.
Come on,
we
man.
love that's the biggest
They're
reunion for sure.
He's on the thumbnail for a reason.
That's a great point.
Potential Jalen Duren sign and trade on the right.
He's interested in Sacramento.
The Pistons are being very staunch and saying, we're not going to do a sign and trade, and we're also not giving you the max contract. So good luck with that, buddy. This is, like you said, last year Shams was saying, it's going to be the craziest NBA. And it wasn't. There was nothing. There was nothing that happened last offseason. People were killing him. And then Shams didn't say anything going into this one.
Yeah, with the pump fake crazy.
Yeah, LaMelo Ball got traded. Royce O'Neal got traded. I mean, all of the stars.
Speaking of pump fakes.
all of the stars got traded.
Right.
But this feels like now, obviously after what the Suns did over the weekend, and we have talked ad nauseum, we'll continue to talk ad nauseum about that specific trade, but it was a 2-for-1 trade. It did save the Suns money, and it did open up a roster spot. So on top of all the craziness, we also now have the Suns who are in a position to add someone via free agency, and we've heard names and whatnot. So what felt like it was going to be relatively dead for the Suns after already re-signing Mark and Colin and Goody and then picking up the option on Bouye, you're like, oh, well, how are they going to change anything? Well, they have a huge opportunity to go out there and to make a move now, which is objectively exciting.
So that's the excitement, obviously, what the Phoenix Suns are going to do. And they've been linked to some people. We've talked about some of the names, and it feels like there is a glaring shooting void that is left by trading Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, and that is something that I expect them to try to address. But the question is, Steven, when we think about where we are, because again, free agency begins in about 25 minutes, 3 o'clock our time, 6 o'clock Eastern time, and we get a flurry of notifications of this has happened, and in your head you're like, I thought you guys were starting to negotiate now. How do you have a deal done at this point? Now, to be fair, you can negotiate with guys on your team already. That's why we've gotten the news on Colin Gillespie, Jordan Goodwin, and Mark Williams already. But when it comes to the Suns and stuff that's happening after 3 hour time, do you expect them to be one of the first names you see involved, or is it going to be a little more of a slow burn and something that maybe takes a little bit longer into this show or maybe throughout free agency period?
Yeah, one thing we've learned about the Suns is that this iteration wants to get their business done as quick, as swift, as snappy as possible. So I can't imagine, in the things in their control, that they will draw out any process. For one, I think it helps that they're not looking for a big fish per se, so that it's going to take negotiating, but it's not as, okay, I got to go talk to this team and I got to talk to 25 other teams. It's like, no, it's probably a couple of teams that are looking at the guys that they're looking at. So that should maybe make the decision a little bit more concise in terms of how long it takes to finish. I imagine they might have something already done. If we're basing it off of the way it went with Colin and Goody, and then obviously with the Bridges trade and then Mark Williams, feels like they're going to probably try to get it done quicker than later.
The good feeling about it, though, it doesn't seem like this front office rushes into things. Now, again, huge conversation right now about the Miles Bridges trade. That has been on a slow burn. Like the Miles Bridges news, the leaks, the ties to the Suns have been going on for years now at this point, so that didn't necessarily feel rushed. Whether you agree with the trade or not, for basketball purposes, it didn't seem like a rush decision by any means. It feels like everything's very coordinated and a couple steps ahead, right? Re-signing Goody, re-signing Colin, re-signing Mark, all at reasonable deals, right? Making this trade, this 2-for-1 trade of Miles Bridges, opening up this money. If they go and they sign somebody immediately, it kind of feels like that was something that they had maybe decided on, through totally legal and non-rule breaking methods, had already decided on and communicated with agents before. So there might be like a big free agency holdup that's out of their control because of a guy like LeBron James and because some of the big fish like James Harden is a free agent this offseason as well. Like, you've got some really big names out there that could potentially be switching teams with, clearly, like we mentioned before, LeBron opting out of the Lakers and potentially, going to a couple of teams could impact maybe how they offer other free agents, and agents themselves might just warn us saying, hey, let's see how the market shakes out before you go out there and take a deal. But if the Suns can go and get somebody immediately at the start of free agency, have them sign below market value contract, because with some of the names that we'll talk about, they're absolutely going to have to do that, whether it's a Colin Sexton or a Luke Kennard or best case scenario, Quentin Grimes, or even a Gary Trent Jr. Most of these guys are going to have to be taking somewhat of a pay cut to sign with the Suns. So if you can get it done early at a good contract rate and for a rotation player, it would be another feather in the front office's cap.
And there would be no doubt that that player would want to be here based on everything that you just outlined. They see an opportunity to come in and produce and a need for what they provide, because ultimately it is about getting the best opportunity and getting the most money for yourself and taking care of your family, but also it's about having an opportunity to extend your career and getting the most out of that. So thinking about what the Suns could potentially offer on both of those fronts, I believe it's limited to around $6.1 million.
Yeah.
I forget the exact name on it, but as far as
one of the MLEs,
one of the MLEs,
the lower MLE,
the lower
the
MLE,
worst MLE.
the not $15 million MLE where they are right now, but there are guys who could potentially want to come for that because of all that Phoenix is, the opportunity that it is, and to have the opportunity to be a part of something bigger. And it's interesting because it's impossible for LeBron James not to be involved in these conversations, not through the lens of the Phoenix Suns per se, and not through the lens of the Phoenix Suns. I don't necessarily think that that's even remotely going to be something that happens, but he is the big fish that a lot of people are going to be kind of on hold to see what happens with that before anything happens. And the other part of it too, you mentioned some of the big names who are going to be free agents and how it has been legal to renegotiate with players that are on your roster since the season ended. I think that no news on some of those fronts is news in that they did not figure it out right away. Now, on the flip side, like somebody like James Harden in Cleveland, he could be holding out for them to make other moves and then he just absorbs whatever salary is left. But I do think it's something to make note of, that guys who have not necessarily come to terms or re-sign with their respective teams, they could be looking elsewhere. I know Dean Wade is a name that we've talked about a lot. Doesn't necessarily fit the needs anymore, but he's another name that is expected to explore free agency once things begin. So we'll be learning and hearing a lot of that as 3 p.m. gets nearer.
Yeah, I think there's a solid contingency of players that if we did to close your eyes and I tell you this thing and you imagine them with the Suns, you'd be like, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it makes sense. There's a handful of guys like that. Someone in particular, name-wise, that comes to mind for me, I'm just not sure where he ends up. I don't think the Suns are a team that he ends up on, but Keon Ellis. I think Keon Ellis is one of the top-tier point-of-attack defenders, can guard effectively 1 through 3. Shooting questions is likely what usually is going to be what holds him back from maybe getting what his talent level suggests he should in terms of his money on the open market. It's probably what helped or what kept him out of the rotation for the Cavaliers at the most meaningful moments last season as well. But that's a guy that's kind of striking that accord that I'm speaking to. Might not necessarily end up with the Suns, but one of those pieces that if he gets to the right situation and his shot hits, sounds a lot like the Jordan Goodwin conversation we had last year. Now all of a sudden you have a home run on your margins, and you might have a piece foundationally that you can help to kind of build around your star players going forward.
Another thing to just kind of like big picture look at free agency and a guy maybe like Keon Ellis is the death of the NBA middle class, because we've seen these guys get huge, big contracts, whether it's Jalen Brown or Trae Young or Devin Booker or Karl Anthony Towns, who's, by the way, up for a contract extension this offseason too. What the Knicks do is very fascinating following the championship. But that middle class that we saw get a really good amount of contracts are now skewing to the lower side of things. It's why I believe the Suns got their 3 returning free agents at a relatively decent contract, and it's why the Suns might be able to get a good player at a decent price. It's also another reason why these signings might not happen immediately. As much as the Suns might want to go get something done immediately, and I wouldn't be shocked if they did, actually I would expect it, at the end of the day, if I'm Quentin Grimes and a majority of my money right now is lower, wouldn't I want to see the field play out a little bit more if I feel like I'm still at the upper echelon of these guys that would get NBA middle class money? So there are exceptions to the rule, like Mark brings up. Jock Landale's agent got him $12 million, which was nuts.
Jock's level of play last season got on that bag. His agent leveraged his level of play into opportunity there.
I mean, like, that's more than Mark Williams.
That's what I was going to say. I was saying, and I wasn't even doing that to like be like, oh, well, actually, to Mark. I was saying to the point that like he's getting more money than Mark Williams this upcoming season, which is wild.
He was hooping last season.
And he was.
He earned that.
But there are players that are going to slip through the cracks here, and it might be beneficial for the Suns to go make a move immediately, and we could talk about names that might be the hottest on the market, like we've mentioned before, more in depth here in a second, but there also might be a good player or two that slips through this initial wave of signings, and everybody's like, why isn't this player signed yet? And then the Suns can get them on a relatively better deal or a contract. So there's a lot of ways for the Suns to approach this. I'm fascinated to see how NBA free agency just works out in general, but the Suns specifically, they've got one roster spot to fill. They've got an amount of money to do so. Can they actually make a splash? It'll be interesting to see.
Flexibility is a big one. We talked about it yesterday, how with the offseason, the rules are a little different. So maybe there's some non-guaranteed things. Maybe there's some veteran minimums guys that they go over that technical roster spot, and then there's some competition involved in it. And you mentioned some of the names that we were going to get into and talk about their specific cases. I'm excited to do that, and we'll do that after our first break.
This summer, it's all about soccer. Michelob Ultra is a proud sponsor of the U.S. men's national soccer team. The entire planet is currently locked in on the FIFA World Cup here in the Valley, here in the studio, and across the country. We'll be going crazy for the USA. Michelob Ultra brewed right here in America, and they say that same grit that gets U.S. soccer players to the world's biggest stage, well, that it's brewed right here too. Michelob Ultra is the beer to match the moment. Whether you're packed into a bar, at one of our World Cup watch parties, of course brought to you by Michelob Ultra, or yelling at your TV at home, for every match, every goal, and every play on the world's biggest stage, why not crack open something superior? Michelob Ultra, proud sponsor of the U.S. men's national soccer team and official beer sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 26. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2026. Anheuser-Busch. Michelob Ultra light beer out of St. Louis, Missouri.
I haven't even been here for a year yet, and I feel like I'm rooted in Arizona. And 1AZ is also rooted in Arizona and invested in you. Yes, you. 1AZ Credit Union's mission is to help Arizonans live their best financial lives, whether that means buying a new car, starting a business, or planning for what's next. And we all have something down the line in our respective lives. 1AZ is part of the community, and they are proud to be celebrating 75 years of dedicated service to Arizona. And it's important to do business with businesses that are rooted in Arizona. It's important to work with people who are rooted in Arizona. That's why I feel like it's so important that I am now rooted in Arizona. There are 25 branches here across the state and an online banking app where you can access your money easier. 1AZ branches are your one-stop shop for all your financial needs, whether it's one-on-one financial coaching, getting a document notarized, or just friendly associates that are ready to help you branch across the state. For a limited time, open a new checking account and complete qualifying activities to earn a $350 new member bonus. Use code CHK358. That's code CHK358. Terms and conditions apply. Visit 1azcu.com for all the details. Welcome back here to PHNX Suns free agency frenzy. The clock, the countdown is now 15 minutes to when it officially begins, and we are starting to think a little bit about what we would like to see the Suns do. And Steven, I know you had a couple of names that stand out above many others as far as players you would like to see the Suns target, or guys you just kind of feel are the right fit for what they need.
Yeah, definitely that. If there was like a mentality of players y'all felt like I was inclined to liking, what would y'all guess?
Finesse guys,
soft maybe, but
okay,
like
so I
more
asked the wrong-
Love to
skills
score first
and
guys.
passes.
They
That's
like
on
taking
me,
long
Coach.
twos
Long
with their
twos
toe
for
on the
You can mute their
line.
microphones. That's on me, Coach. I gotta know my personnel. I don't know why I even did that. Y'all are both wrong.
High maintenance guys.
Anyways,
locker room cancers.
I love me some blue collar guys. That shouldn't be a shock to anybody. And the way my list is set up is kind of in accordance with that. I can't help but be myself. I also think the Suns have more shooting than Suns discourse would lead you to believe. Honestly, if you're looking at the way Suns fans have talked about the Suns on the other side of the Miles Bridges trade, you would think they had the Houston Rockets in terms of lack of spacing, lack of shooting talent. Teams are going to ignore whoever has the ball outside of the perimeter if it's not their alpha dog. That's just not the case.
They did lose their two best shooters, though.
They did. Oh, I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Two of their best shooters.
Well, technically, two of, because
Neither of them set the franchise record.
Besides, okay, two of the
Exactly.
three.
Yes.
Two of the
Exactly.
three best shooters on the roster.
fair. That being said, I think also what's underrated in it all is the quality of shots they can create because of the principles they're playing off of from Jordan Knott and the gravity that they're playing off of from Devin Booker. All of those things in context matter for sure. That being said, I think shooting matters. Might not be the most important thing for me personally to see them, but my top three goes Colin Sexton, number one. Alignment with the dog, alignment with the blue collar, getting downhill aligned with that as well, and being able to make plays outside of having Devin Booker or Jalen Green creating those things for you. He can go and do those things on his own accord. I think him in the second unit with Colin Gillespie would just be a dogged trio, adding Jordan Goodwin to that mix. It allow for Colin to get off the ball and do some more kind of the things that Grayson did last season, play to his top-tier skill of shooting a little bit more. Colin Gillespie makes a lot of sense culturally as well. Number two, Luke Kennard. Just simply, very casually, one of the best three-point shooters ever. I think he could use a lot more volume of threes relative to what his shooting talent is. If he's shooting 7 threes a game, or if he's able to be created 7 threes, maybe 6 of those on catch and shoots in some capacity, that aligns with the Suns and the principles they've established, the style of play with Devin Booker at the helm that they've been able to consistently play to. And I think that's a perfect match in terms of context, opportunity, and fit, like we talked about a little bit earlier this week. And then the last one on the list for me, maybe not the most glamorous, but what is glamorous is that piece of jewelry he's got on his ring finger right now, and that's Jordan Clarkson. I think Jordan Clarkson showed to be a player that, okay, I know I can score the ball, but if I'm coming into a situation where there's a litany of scorers that have usage that I'm just never going to have, I have to find other ways to impact winning. So can you buy in and play a little bit better defense? Can you be active? Can you defend without fouling? Crash the boards a couple times. Can you set other guys up? I think Jordan Clarkson, it'll be a buy low type of guy in terms of how that goes. And I think he's someone that could be a piece that adds to what the Suns are looking to establish if they strike out on the pieces before him.
Can we talk about Luke Kennard first? Because it does
You
feel
look
like
excited to talk about
well,
Luke Kennard.
I wouldn't
You
say I'm
just pounded
excited to
the
talk about
table.
Luke Kennard.
It's like a baby when they get ready to get some food. Literally.
Okay. Anyway, while I throw my Cheerios on the ground, I do want to talk about Luke Kennard because he has been the main topic of Suns Twitter. I think Colin Sexton's been up there too.
Mm-hmm.
If you think Luke Kennard and Grayson Allen are the same basketball player, then you haven't watched either of them play basketball. Now, that doesn't mean that Luke Kennard isn't good. I think Luke Kennard is good. Defensively, I think Grayson Allen's better. You talk about volume, Steven, and the volume of what Grayson Allen is willing to take three-pointer-wise, the audacity of the shots that he's willing to create, the way that he's able to get his head down to the paint to create shots for others, and his passing, I think, are better than Luke Kennard's. I say all of that to say that if you think the Suns are trading away Grayson Allen, and then they sign Luke Kennard, and all of a sudden the Grayson Allen void is filled, you'd be wrong. That does not mean that Luke Kennard wouldn't be a really good player on this team. I think the Suns do need an influx of shooting, even if the shooting isn't as big of a problem as some might think, Steven. They did lose two of their best high-volume, high-percentage three-point shooters, and their starting lineup isn't going to have a single player that shoots over 36% from three. So that could change with some of the gravity, some of the playmaking, but it is going to be tough for this team to hang with some of the best shooters. So adding a Luke Kennard and a Colin Gillespie off the bench, some of your best defenders and your best shooters will be coming in as change of pace guys and your spot starters. I like the fit of Kennard, but Kennard is not going to come in and be Grayson Allen, Gil. They are just two very different basketball players that get compared for one reason and one reason
because
only.
they went to the same college.
Because they went to Duke.
I almost said that name, and you did. And it's funny because Grayson was a 4-year guy there. He basically played with everybody that came through that time. So they spent 2 seasons together in Durham. But it's interesting because when we talked about his 3-point shooting, it surprised me how low the volume is.
It's like 4 a game.
He took 3 a game with LA this past year.
I think that speaks to context, man. But
that's always been him in his entire career. He's always had
the most he's ever taken in a game is 6.1 per game, and that was back in Memphis a couple years ago. Which is also funny, by the way. In Memphis, he played with both Dillon Brooks and Jordan Goodwin. So there's some familiarity there. There's something to be at least, and data. Because we're talking about Memphis, right?
Yes.
But anyway, as you were saying about the volume of his threes,
got it. You absolutely got it. Facts.
But the context of it,
you just dropped the entendre you don't even know you did.
No, I did.
He knows.
That. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay,
he did it on purpose.
Well, maybe it's a triple, man. Then it's a triple.
Yeah.
There you go.
And we're talking about triples,
bro. You just crossed somebody over and hit a 3, and Steven's like, "Yo, I think you accidentally broke that guy's ankles."
He did for sure. Happened so quick, you didn't even notice it happened. Anyways, yes, I think Kennard is someone that would benefit from a system where the ball moves more than it has in any of his recent stops.
Very heliocentric in LA.
That one might say. The analytic nerds would say heliocentric. Gil being an analytic nerd, apparently.
What was that dude who tweeted my top 10 players of the NBA, and it had two-way context, Vorp super, some stupid shit
Vorp, warp, all of that, yeah. Just joking on that front because it was heliocentric. You look at his time spent with the Lakers, it's a little less on the extreme side of it, but still is very much that when you look at him playing with Luka Doncic and LeBron James.
Right.
So it's all of these teams you're looking at that he's been on, very different from what the Suns have in terms of not necessarily egalitarian in terms of you get 15 shots, I get 15 shots, he gets 15 shots, but the ball moving is dictating who's getting the shots, and they're just erring on shot quality more than it is. We need this guy to be taking shots because that's what we need to win. I feel like he would be someone that greatly benefits from a system set up like that with a best player that is kind of mentally wired to match and align with that style of play. I think those things would put him in position to have more attempts. Maybe he might not get up to 8 almost like Grayson Allen was at the peak of his son's tenure, but maybe he gets up to 5.5 and he's shooting those on 42%. And what does that do for him? And naturally, you also have to play more. Grayson Allen averaged almost 31 minutes in his tenure with the Suns. Luke Kennard is averaging 23 since his 2020-2021 season. So he's not someone that plays as high a volume on top of the usage difference and things like that.
Sure, and I feel like guys who come to the Suns, you look at Jordan Goodwin, you have the opportunity to shoot a bunch of threes. Part of the reason why Luke Kennard was such a revelation in the playoffs is because there was nobody else. It was the Kennard and the LeBron show. And Kennard played.
Respect Rui Hachimura.
And Rui Hachimura show, sorry.
All-time leading 3-point percentage
My bad.
guy. Don't forget that.
But Kennard was hooping in that context.
Yes.
Now, you have to hope that if he's here, I don't think he plays 30 minutes per game, but in those 20 minutes per game, you got to go in and say, your best skill is going to be 3-point shooting. You have to lean into that. He is more of a one-dimensional player than somebody like Colin Sexton, who brings an edge on the defensive side of the ball, even though he leans a little bit more offensively with that edge. Somebody said in the chat, he's like the same version of Jordan Goodwin, but Jordan Goodwin leans defense. Colin Sexton leans offense, which you definitely need. But Kennard's not going to do a lot more than that. Before we get too far away of it, what I was referencing was at Mogged by Tatum did his top 15 with a nickname with archetypes saying two-way scalability engine for Jason Tatum. Can you tell me what a two-way scalability engine is?
Sounds like number 0 for that green and white team in Boston. Just a wild guess on the whim.
That should replace the anomaly as his nickname.
There is a connector reference in here for Scotty Barnes, a two-way connector. Stephen Curry is called a gravity ecosystem.
That's fair. That's fair. That's all I got.
Is Mogged by Tatum cooking?
He's making a sandwich. Wow. It's not cooking.
Is Luke Kennard for you, Gil, somebody that you're like, I would really want the Suns to get that? Or is it just like, it's a nice addition?
It would answer some questions, I think. Again, with so many guys, it'd be a level of curiosity of how it looks in the system, and I wanted to look back at his playoff series that they don't beat Houston without him because he goes 5 of 5 in game 1, has 27 points. He goes 3 of 6 from 3 in game 2 and has 23 points, but then game 3 he was 1 of 6 from 3. Game 4 was 0 of 3. Game 5 he was 0 for 2, and game 6 he was 1 for 2 from 3.
And so he didn't even take over 6 threes in a single game, and Luka and Reeves were out.
Yeah. So I think it was a big part of that is scouting report shifted a little bit. Now Luke Kennard can shoot the ball, but I remember watching that series and being like, do the Rockets know he can shoot the ball? Because that's something he's done and been known for since his days coming up in Ohio. And he found it a little bit, but he didn't take that many threes again until game 3 of that series against Oklahoma City, which they were blown out and they were swept by the Thunder. The Lakers were. So
how pathetic, swept by the Thunder.
Who would imagine doing that? But I'm intrigued. He answers the shooting question. He showed some playmaking shots this past year. I told you I was triple-double earlier. You were like, he did?
He can pass the ball.
He can pass the ball.
Much more than just a
He's a cerebral
catch and shoot. He's not a specialist.
He's a cerebral player.
He can play. He plays
he's
with
a cerebral
his mind.
player.
He has playmaking ability. Yeah, for sure.
The highest rated recruit in Ohio, like higher than LeBron, right?
I think he broke LeBron's scoring record in the state.
He's got a good pedigree, and what you saw in the playoffs from him at the peak is what a lot of people did expect from him in the league. Now, clearly he's not that, but if he's playing 20 to 25 minutes for you and is just passing the ball well and coming in with Colin Gillespie and shooting a ton of threes, or being a spot starter if Jalen Green is injured or if Dillon Brooks is injured or whatever it might be, like there's certainly a role for Luke Kennard here. Yeah. Absolutely.
And to that point, in balance with the things you talked about with the starting unit, if you're a team that wants to play fast, cool. You want to get out and play off stops. But if you're a team that wants to play fast in the half court, the one consistent way to play fast in the half court, making quick decisions. Not necessarily looking to make the right decision, but there's never a wrong decision that you can make if you're making a quick one. And I think Luke Kennard is immediately that. Grayson Allen showed to be that in multiple pockets with the Suns. Luke Kennard is someone that's a specialist in that regard. Anytime he gets it, it's either catch and shoot, catch and rip, or catch and pass. And he's consistently doing those things on top of the movement and the gravity that comes with him moving around the court.
Makes a lot of sense. We're about to make the quick decision to go to our second break, and when we come back, free agency will officially be here. So we'll be really excited to react and analyze some of the moves that become official. It's always fun to be a sports fan, but especially in the summer, especially this summer, because we've got World Cup action going on. We've got MLB action. We've got WNBA action going on. And you talk about getting in on the action. You can get in on the action at Bet365. You want to make a bet on who you think's going to win the World Cup?
Yeah.
Want to make a bet who you think's going to win the Commissioner's Cup?
Oh, the Merc playing, so Merc always.
Oh, but they're not going to win the Commissioner's Cup. But yeah, it's Merc over everybody.
Hey, you probably get good odds. Yeah.
And you probably could get great odds on that. You want to make a bet on whoever's going to win the World Series or anything on night tonight, you do it over at Bet365. And there's never been a better time to start at Bet365 than right now, because right now new users get $200 in bonus bets thanks to the Bet10 Get $200 promo. Just sign up, make a $10 bet, and they will throw you $200. Just 10. They'll throw you $200 in bonus bets, whether that first bet wins or loses. Download the app and use the code PHNX365. Bet365 is where winning is everything. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 and up only. Must be physically located in Arizona. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only.
And if you're looking for a place to watch the game, why not go to the ultimate spot to place a few bets, grab some drinks, make a whole day out of it? You've got to check out Gila River Resorts and Casinos. This is Arizona's #1 casino destination, and they seriously know how to do sports right. Every BetMGM sportsbook is built for fans. We're talking wall-to-wall TVs, massive screens, incredible viewing setups, and flexible ways to bet while the action is happening live. So whether you're sweating out a same-game parlay, cheering on your squad with your friends, or just looking for the best game day atmosphere in Arizona, this is the place to be. So grab your crew, celebrate the big wins, and enjoy everything Gila River Resorts Casinos has to offer. Plus, just go for a staycation, hang out by the pool, grab a bite to eat, go to their state-of-the-art gaming floor. I mean, literally anything that you want to do to have a good time, you can go have fun over at Gila River Resorts Casinos. Gila River Resorts Casinos, all the way. This let you do you. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
Welcome back to the PHNX Suns free agency frenzy.
It's here.
Free agency frenzy is officially here. It is 3 o'clock our time, 6 p.m. on the East Coast, and that means that teams can now officially begin negotiating with free agents, because of course they have not been doing that
No,
before. Now
never,
they're taking their time now to talk through and work through some things, and I'm sure that some news will eventually come down. We've talked about the teams that have made trades and have gotten stronger and gotten weaker, and we know where the Suns are right now. They've maintained and retained 3 key names, as reports indicate, with Colin Gillespie, Jordan Goodwin, and Mark Williams. The Miles Bridges trade, the trade to acquire Koa Pete. Now, it leaves us kind of wondering what they're going to do with this 15th roster spot. We're unsure right now, but we also see what's going on around the Suns. Do you have your eyes on anybody? Are you worried about anybody kind of jumping in and making something happen? I feel like the Lakers are the natural question because LeBron is out, but everybody seems like they're rushing to go play alongside Luka Doncic, and they're a team that finished ahead of you last year, and they feel like they're always a threat to bring somebody else in.
Dubs and Timberwolves for me.
Yes.
Because the Warriors at this present moment are a team that the Suns should be able to feel like they have an advantage over going into. Now, obviously, you have the Steph Curry variable, which is as big a variable as anybody in the league, but on a rare night that he might not have his best game like he did in the play-in tournament, that's a game you can win and win comfortably. That being said, though, if they do what it is their sights are supposedly set out to do and turn it into a more formidable unction, if you will.
Olden State?
That's tough. LeBron James and Stephen Curry in a series, in a play-in game, is not something I'm signing up for, even if one is 41.5 and the other one is on the other side of 35. That's not something I'm looking forward to if I'm a team going into a matchup with those two. The IQ, the awareness, the experience, that's all a weapon that you just can't replicate. And they also have the ability to go outside the box. Like, that's just something you don't want to have to deal with. To the Minnesota front, if they solve the 4 with someone viable and there are options out there, that makes it a lot more arduous in terms of punching up into that top 6, because to punch up, that means that someone has to fall back. If it's not the Lakers, if the Dubs climb up, if Utah climbs up into that bridge level like you are, you got to plug someone down.
Realistically, LeBron should probably go to the Timberwolves. It's not going to happen, but that would be a pretty perfect fit. I think they could compete. You want LeBron to leave the West. You want LeBron to go to Cleveland.
Go back to Miami.
Miami would be insane. Miami's also a team that I'm interested in, is how exactly aggressive they are to go out and get some guards. It feels like some of the names that the Suns should be looking at the guard position, Miami is going to check in on, whether it is a Luke Kennard because they need shooting, Colin Sexton because they need a little bit of offense and ball handling and whatnot. So Miami is also a team that's going to be competing for the same guys that the Suns are. Also, the Detroit Pistons are a team that needs creation, ball handling, shooting, especially if they do end up cutting Duncan Robinson, which has been a rumor that I've been pretty shocked by.
Ends up in Miami again.
If he would end up, there are rumors that he would go back to Miami. So there are teams that are competing for the same types of players as the Suns are. I feel like the LeBron decision's not going to come down for a while, though. The report is that Rich Paul. By the way, did you guys know LeBron's a clutch guy? Just putting it out there.
He got that game winner. He had the game winner against the Pacers, I remember in the playoffs.
Oh, no. The clutch agency.
Okay, got you. Okay.
So his agent is Rich Paul, which I feel like they've known each other for a little bit.
I have another question.
Did they meet through Adele? Did Adele know LeBron and then introduce LeBron and Rich?
Is Bronny a clutch guy too?
I don't know, but I know he's a Laker because his contract
Has Bronny hit a game winner?
I was going to ask if Bryce was a clutch guy too, because I was going to say if the clutch gene. It's a clutch gene. If all 3 of those guys are clutch.
But the reports are that LeBron has told Rich Paul to field offers and pitches from all the teams that want him. It's the who want me meme, but it's actually not 100% no. It's probably like 75% yes. So he wants to see the pitches from all the teams, which means realistically we're not going to get a decision on LeBron here for a while. So which team is willing to make moves before that? Golden State's clearly, and I mean clearly, angling for LeBron. That's why Draymond opts out of his contract so they can free up the money. So Golden State I don't think does anything after bringing back Horford and Porzingis. They're not going to go sign any other free agents unless LeBron indicates he's not going to go there. The Lakers, who knows what the Lakers are going to do? They're in
on Durn, they're in on Kessler, they're in on Quentin Grimes.
Kessler's in LA right now.
Yeah, you heard what I said off the mic. They like a lot of free agents.
They do.
Like a lot of
you haven't made it until you've been put into a Los Angeles Lakers type of graphic with the Lakers jersey on.
But building around Luka and Reeves now with no LeBron feels like, okay, you have a more definite path towards the future, but it's also a barren roster. No Rui Hachimura. Right, DeAndre Ayton's coming back. Congratulations on that. That's going to help you a ton. No LeBron. Marcus Smart has interest from other teams, specifically the Houston Rockets have been linked there. So who knows what they do?
They're going to try and rebuild the 2024 Mavs just in LA. They're going to be 2024 Mavs West. We've seen it work before. They're going to try to do that again. That team went to the finals, and they're going to make Austin Reeves their version of Kyrie. Luka is Luka. That sounds really crazy, and don't just clip that. I recognize what I just said. That's what they're going to try to do, and they're going to try to build that way. But when you talk about it, and I'll ask both of you guys, but Eric, I guess I'll start with you because, you are rooted in Arizona.
Yes.
When you mentioned...
And invested in you.
And invested in all of you. All 350 plus of you, by the way, which you're here. 300 plus of you. Might as well like and subscribe if you have not already. But when you said the Suns are competing for free agents with other teams, what's the pitch? Like, what is your pitch to sell somebody on coming to the Phoenix Suns? You're sitting down with Luke Kennard, and you're looking at this roster. What are you telling them to come join this team?
I'm telling them, look at all the guys that had career years last year. And you could add your name to the list. Look at all these guys that went out there and got guaranteed contracts for the next 3 years after coming to the Phoenix Suns. There's a reason to come play in Phoenix. Everybody loves Devin Booker. Everybody wants to play with Devin Booker. Jordan Ott has proven himself. Top 5 coach of the year as a rookie. First-year head coach, by the way. I don't know if you guys
knew
this.
that?
I learned that today.
Until the moratorium ends next week, then he's in the year.
He's in year 2.
Yeah, but not yet.
Then you can't use that no more.
But the pitch is that we get the most out of our players and that we plan to surprise everybody and make a leap in the Western Conference. We're just referencing all the ad reads here. And we plan on being a team that competes for home court next year. Gil, you and I talked about this in a video that'll go out on our channel here shortly, discussing the Miles Bridges trade, but you don't make a move like that if you don't think it makes you significantly better. Internally, they have to see themselves as a team that's going to take a pretty significant leap next year to warrant the value that they gave up for Miles Bridges. So the pitch is, we have a great coaching staff, we have a great superstar, we have a great culture of guys that love being with each other and love competing with each other. You might have to take a little bit of less money to be here, but you'll play the most important, the most fun basketball of your career, and you're going to live in a good place doing it. So I don't know if that pitch works because at the end of the day, cash rules everything around the NBA. So it might not, but all it takes is one guy, right? All it takes is for Colin Sexton to buy it or Luke Kennard to buy it or somebody else to look at the Suns and say, I'd love to live there. I'd love to get paid an okay amount of money. And maybe it's a 1-year deal, set myself up to hit free agency next year with a career best year like so many of the players on the Suns last year.
I like that you have on this hat and you have on this hat because I was going to tell you to put on a different hat. As far as this goes,
it'd be crazy if we were wearing the same hat.
That is.
I don't think we've ever worn the same hat.
Nah, get out my bag.
I'm not in your bag. I'm wearing a different hat.
Which I appreciate that you gave the pitch as if you were in the building. From outside the building. Now, you're just taking a look at it, treetop view, and you're talking about a Luke Kennard or a Gary Trent Jr., and you're looking at all the situations equally. Why do you think it would make more sense from the outside looking in for a guy like that to join this Suns team and where they stand over a Miami or over an LA Lakers team, teams who are having their sights on similar players to fill a similar void?
Yeah, I think it's opportunity. I think that you can say that, okay, if you go to Miami, you should get a chance, but I think that should warrant a little bit more gray area than you will with the Suns because that's just shown to be what they do. And I think that's something that they can kind of leverage into advantage for themselves. That might be how they get someone like Luke Kennard to choose the desert over South Beach or the desert over Long Beach, if you will. So I think that's something that they can, again, just leverage into opportunity for themselves and entice a guy that might be inclined to go elsewhere, just seeing that opportunity like, man, I want to be a part. Like, they got top-end pieces over there, and the weather's cool there too or whatever, but it looks like it's fun to play there based off of what I just saw last year as an opponent going against that team at my crib, but also going against them in the desert. So I think that's something that they could potentially parlay into opportunity for themselves.
A lot to be said about that. Players talk. I think that's what marries both of the points that you guys
especially if they share an agent.
Players talk, especially if they share an agent or especially if they were teammates before. Yeah. Like, you don't think that, and I don't know how cool Dillon and Luke and Jordan and Luke were, but if the team that they play for is on him heavily and making a contract offer, who do you think he's going to ask? hey, what's it like? Tell me, be honest. Like, what
Sure.
did you enjoy your time playing there? What's it like? How's the organization? How's the franchise? How are the facilities? And Grayson, I don't think Grayson left in bad graces. I think that he would speak highly. His college teammate played here for a while too. Hey, what'd you think about playing in Phoenix for a couple of years? And that is when you talk about the goodwill that you build by doing things the right way and building the franchise the right way. The way that the team has you got the continuity. The coach is coming back the second year. So
just don't ask Kevin Durant. Don't ask Kevin Durant how he felt about the Phoenix Suns.
Don't ask him.
Other than that, we should be pretty good. But realistically, it's also not just these guys know each other, but NBA players are going to be able to relate to a Dillon Brooks story on average way more than they are a Kevin Durant story. Only a handful of guys that have ever breathed air will be able to relate to a Kevin Durant type story of being one of the best players in the NBA and being such a hot commodity that the Suns try to trade you without you knowing so that they can get the most value back for you. So if you're asking a Dillon Brooks, who's been, I don't want to say a career journeyman, obviously, but the Grizzlies gave up on him. The Rockets gave up on him. He's had an up and down career. He's had a lot of impact. He's had a lot of hate. And then he finds his way to the Phoenix Suns, borderline all-star season, also in an extension year too. So he balls out before being able to go out and make a lot of money. So you have a lot of guys that can look at a story like Dillon Brooks or a Colin Gillespie or a Jordan Goodwin, and they can relate to that so much more than somebody of a Kevin Durant or a Bradley Beal. So you have that relatability factor and that ability to get the most out of everybody. You also do have some money, right? You do have some money and some opportunity. So it's not like you're operating with 40 cents. Now, maybe you don't have a bunch of money and the same amount of money as some of these other teams, but you have a pretty fleshed out roster with pretty fleshed out needs. You could sell guys like, come here, have your best career year, sign a 1 year, go out to free agency next year. Maybe we bring you back, right? Maybe there's a ton of room to bring you back. We love to bring back our guys. Look at Colin, look at Goody, look at Mark.
Treat him well.
So there's a lot of reasons that guys would want to play for the Phoenix Suns, but it's up to the front office to really sell that vision.
I have to say something real quick because everybody on social media is saying the same thing that we are saying. There's nothing that's been reported yet because nobody wants to get caught any type of semblance of potentially tampering beforehand.
I can't relate to this, but it's like in school when you would copy off somebody's like homework or something, and you
just change one or two so it don't look like.
And you're like, okay, I got this sentence, but I'm gonna switch up the wording on that one. And you're like, I'm going to submit this at a completely different time, right? Or something like that. So, I can't relate, but so I've heard.
That's probably
that is something that a lot of people would do.
That'll get them off our tails.
Yeah.
So that's what it seems like is happening right now because we're 13 minutes into what has become the official negotiation period and have not gotten any reports where in the past.
Well, we all know that contracts take about 10 to 15 minutes to shore up.
Of course. Like all the language in there and reading over them and like the whole getting to an agreement part, all that stuff. Because like I'm no agent, I'm no lawyer. I don't know how long it takes to look up, but definitely like 10 or 15 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes just
fair.
To be like, okay,
it's just like the terms and conditions when you sign up for something, you just gotta just agree, basically like that. But the question I was gonna say with all of that until we wait for the first domino to fall, but we're talking so much, and I'm even envisioning it being Luke Kennard with all these hypotheticals that we're saying, hypothetical pitches that we're throwing. I don't want to set it up to the point where it's disappointing that he's not the guy that it is, but would you be disappointed? I know you mentioned a list of guys, but I don't even know how realistic you view him as a target given the $6 million that could be offered and the other teams that could be in the mix.
I think it is because he would come in and be immediately thought of as the best shooter on the team. Now his work will be cut out because Colin Gillespie is one stubborn athlete and also is coming off of the best 3-point shooting season in the history of a franchise. So there will be some friendly competition there that I imagine would just result in a better shooting faction for the Suns. We'll also love for Devin Booker to be challenged within all that as well because they need him to knock down his threes next season too. But I think it's that, and I think it's also for Luke Kennard that he can do more than just shoot. Like I think it's not just the playmaking part that we talked about as well. I think his ability to operate as a screener and to do things off the ball, even be like a stealthy, sneaky cutter. Everybody's worried about him shooting from deep. So you might know that you can turn your head at times and be like, okay, I know he's not going to cut because he's going to stay behind the 3-point line. So you look and see what's going on the strong side with Devin Booker, and all of a sudden he's just at the basket for a cut behind you for two. And it might be at a timely moment like it was against the Rockets. So he's a good player. He's a high IQ guy, And I think all of those things just really match with what the Suns would want. That being said, though, to your point, Colin Sexton was the first on my list.
That's true.
For more reasons than one.
You think he's realistic with the money?
I feel like he is. I think he might be enticed by culture and the style of play that a team has and seeing how he can fit with that. If he's the ring bearer of that or if he's just a piece of the better machine that they have established there. If he comes here, he knows that he's bumping heads in a competitive way with Jordan Goodwin and Dillon Brooks in particular, which just makes for a fun atmosphere and environment.
So the thing about Colin Sexton is it does feel like he's been very underrated throughout his career, but you look at how much money he's made, and it's a decent amount.
Yes.
This past contract, he was making anywhere from $16 to $19 million, that the Suns just don't have. So it would be a very significant pay cut. But I'm seeing on this page,
it'd be a 1 year type situation.
Yeah, I'm looking on this page here. Tell me if you guys recognize this guy. His agent is Rich Paul.
Rich Paul.
And of Clutch, but it's Clutch with a K.
Clutch, okay.
Clutch with a Clutch Sports Group.
Okay. Oh, well.
There's a reason why he was number one on my list.
Yeah. And the Suns, look, there are fans who are worried about how much business the Suns are doing with Clutch, and I feel like that is a decent conversation to have. You go back to pretty much all of the young guys on their rosters are Clutch guys. They made calls to make sure they drafted Kaman Malawach. They moved up to draft Rasheer Fleming. They moved up to draft Koa Pete. It does seem like they are doing Clutch favors, and Clutch is maybe doing favors for them as well. So I wonder if this is all right, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, you help us out, you get my client to be a first-round draft pick in Koa Pete, you trade up for him, you have this whole hoopla, which I think was deserved about him being a hometown kid. Great PR track record.
Gets access to more money.
Longer, more guaranteed contract. What I'll do is I'll convince Colin Sexton to come to your place for 1 year at $6 million, but you have to obviously sell him on having a big role before he hits free agency the next year, and he can make a lot more money. So there is a benefit to doing business as much as we joke about the Clutch Sports stuff. Now, can it get too rich to where, sorry, I didn't actually mean to say that. Can it get too far where now I think 7 players on your roster are Clutch clients, if not around that? That's about half of your roster. If you add another one, okay, you're at 8. At what point is it Rich Paul's running the Suns versus not if you have 9, 10, 11 Clutch clients on your roster? So there is a line, but the Suns should hopefully be able to make some good business moves with Rich Paul by doing him some favors as well.
Hey, you got to play the game, though.
Yeah.
The game is the game.
If there's any agency to do this with,
sure.
Yes.
it is the Clutch agency.
For sure.
And Jordan Clarkson also a Clutch guy. So, and that's the other part of it, too, is like they're just kind of guys everywhere.
They're the biggest agency in the NBA.
So
they're
it's
the most powerful agency in the NBA.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what happens when you have LeBron James involved and all of that, and Rich Paul knowing who he is, and credit to him, because I think he had the quote where he didn't actually become LeBron's agent until year 9. So it wasn't just that. Obviously,
so that's when they met.
That's when they. Yep.
That was around Adele time, right?
Hello. My bad.
Yeah, that was your fault.
That was my fault.
That was not my fault.
That was on me. You
that was
said
not
that.
my fault.
You can't hear that name and not say that. Well, I guess that's all it is.
That's true.
But no, it's interesting now because we're still sitting here waiting for the first
Literally
domino to drop. Like, this is not.
Don't they know that we're doing a show?
What are y'all doing? Like, have some decency.
You know what? I feel like I know what will fix this. I feel like if we go to a break,
they'll have some news.
That something's gonna break while we are at a break, and then we could take credit for it.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. I like promises. I like people who keep their word. And that's why I love the husband and wife lawn team. That's why I love Mark and Alexis Breyer's team. Not only are they experienced and specialize in personal injury and wrongful death, but they're happy to make you and all of their clients guarantees. Promises. Now, nobody can guarantee the outcome of a legal case, but they promise that you can cancel your fee agreement at any time for any reason. They guarantee that you're going to receive at least as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee, even if they have to reduce their attorney's fee to do so. And they guarantee that you may speak with one of their lawyers as often as you choose about anything that you'd like to discuss. And of course, again, nobody can guarantee the outcome of a legal case, but they are happy to always tell you the pros and the cons of your case so that you can make the most informed decisions. They're not just going to sugarcoat it. They're going to tell you the strengths and the weaknesses weaknesses. So if you've had a serious injury, it's imperative you call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841. That's 602-783-8841. Or visit their website, the link in our show notes, and make sure you tell them that PHNX sent you.
It's time to talk about the Window Depot. And at the Window Depot, windows are what they do. They have the biggest inventory, the best prices, and that is their guarantee to you. But Steven, I think we can't talk about the Window Depot without acknowledging that
yeah, just like LeBron, it's more than just a scorer, more than just a playmaker. They do everything.
It's more than just a window store. And
wait, what?
More than just a window store.
The Window Depot has more than just windows?
It's just like Ron.
Might I interest you in
all of it?
Doors?
Yeah.
Cabinets?
Essential.
Countertops?
Also essential.
And vinyl flooring at the Window Depot as well. This
I
guy knows
there must just be one location, and the prices must be terrible.
There are 8 locations.
Well, surprise.
Surprise. Yes, there's a new one in Surprise.
But I'm paying so much money, right?
Chandler, Tucson, Marana. And no, you're not. Best prices guaranteed for you. And you can visit thewindowdepot.com to start your journey to learn more about this. Get started on your next project today. Stop by one of any of the locations I named. See for yourself why they're way more than just a window store. Stop online, pick up in store, browse and order directly at thewindowdepot.com with real-time access to in-stock products at your nearest location so you can get what you need when you need it at the Window Depot.
About to go check it out now.
Better. Back here, PHNX free agency frenzy.
It's a frenzy.
It has been. I've been having a tough time.
It's a frenzy. Spell it PH. It's a frenzy.
Either way, nobody's doing anything.
It's so frenzied, I haven't been able to keep up with that. We have over 400 of you hanging out with us here on a Tuesday afternoon, and might as well let you know where else you can hang out with us here as the World Cup continues to go on. You can join the PHNX crew at our World Cup watch parties presented by our friends at Buchanan's, Casamigos, Don Julio, and Michelob Ultra, beginning this evening in about 3 hours, less than 3 hours. And now, Mexico, Ecuador, Backyard Desert Ridge.
What happens first? This game kicks off or a free agent signs?
Ooh, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. I think we might get the kickoff first, and then that's what they're waiting on for that to start for these free agents to roll in. And then tomorrow, July 1st, 5 p.m., USA versus Bosnia and Herzegovina at Backyard Desert Ridge as well. Visit gophnx.com/events for more details and to RSVP. Unfortunately, Eric, our strategy and idea did not work.
No.
Nothing happened during the break that we went to. But what did happen, we got a genius idea in the form of a super chat here. And it's, I think, what we all agree. Roberto says, the NBA needs to just follow the NFL and let them tamper.
Yeah. Legal tampering period feels like a good idea. So, did we have a signing? Looks like we have a signing.
What do we have?
Free agent center DeAndre Jordan is re-signing with the New Orleans Pelicans for his 19th season in the NBA.
19 seasons is actually pretty wild.
Also, Ousmane Dieng.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't disrespect Ousmane Dieng.
Ousmane Dieng agrees to a 3-year, $17.5 million deal to return the Milwaukee Bucks, which is interesting because the Bucks renounced his restricted free agent rights.
Yeah,
but then they're
that was a name that you threw out there as like a sneaky, interesting person, especially seeing the figure that he got.
But you know what's interesting about that? As I'm thinking back to last year, they did the exact same thing with Ryan Hollins. Now, it took maybe a day or two longer for them to come to agreement on terms for what his actual deal is now, but they did the same thing with Ryan Hollins at this time last year. Because we were talking about Ryan Rollins, not Hollins. Excuse me, Ryan Rollins, the guard, the shorter guy.
Not the Rockets broadcaster.
Not Rockets broadcaster with all of the stuff he's got going on. Yeah, Ryan Rollins. Yeah, they did the same thing with him last year. I think it's a creative way to get around navigating different rules and whatnot, but. Congrats to Ousmane. Ousmane was really good for them once he got traded there last season.
That's a reminder that circumstance oftentimes.
Absolutely.
And that's another reason why, had he not figured it out there, I would have been interested in him. A guy like that, too, like a guy who's a flyer, like a former, I think he was like a 12th pick in his draft class, whatever it was. I know he was a lottery pick or close to it.
Don't know if he's a 3, 4, or 5 because he's just a hooper.
Right. And there was never going to be an opportunity for him in OKC. He goes in that trade, and it's like, okay, well, now what? So
yeah, the most important thing about this, though, is that Bucks officials finalized the deal with agents Michael Tellum of Excel Sports Management and Marius Rudkowskis. So I know everybody was wondering
I'm surprised
who worked that deal out. And that was the most important part of the Shams
You know what I'm
tweet.
surprised at? Shams didn't say it was a 3-year, $17+ million deal.
Dude, okay, can we talk about that for a second? He's been weird. He has been really. The LeBron James tweet earlier today was like it wasn't written by a human. LeBron James will continue his NBA career for the 2026-27 season and has informed the Los Angeles Lakers that the franchise can move on without him because he will play elsewhere. Clutch Sports CEO Rich Paul tells ESPN. That was one of the worst sentences I've ever read in my entire life. I mean, what
are you alleging?
What's going on? What's going on with?
Are you alleging, sir?
What's going on with our guy?
And by the way, just because we said something, Chris Haynes beat.
Chris Haynes did beat Shams.
DeAndre Jordan.
Do you think Shams got like the text that DeAndre Jordan's returning to the Pelicans and he just threw his phone across the wall? He doesn't care. By the way, Shams just tweeted free agent DeAndre Jordan has agreed on a deal.
Got him about 2 minutes.
Didn't have the DeAndre Jordan graphic ready. So we are off to, what some would call an incredibly hot start.
I will say, man,
one series right now.
I will say, DJ going into year 19.
Go DJ.
That's my DJ. Been a great veteran mentor for those young guys in New Orleans. Like there was like that one where Derek Queen was doing his post game interview. He's like, man, stand up when you're talking to them. Like stuff like that. Like that goes a long way, especially with a new head coach in Jamal Mosley down in New Orleans. Not really expecting them to make that much noise.
But he came in and played.
Season-wise, he did come in and play a little bit. But I'm expected them to be in the center of a lot of conversations. Trey Murphy is a name who's been thrown out there as a guy who could be on the move. And if he goes on the move to somewhere else in the Western Conference, that could shift things as well. So that's a team who you look at as like a facilitating team, like Jordan Poole. Fell out of the rotation there. DeJounte Murray is a name that Suns fans have been clamoring for.
Very much clamoring.
But I don't see it there. But
you don't see it as in like you don't think it'd happen, or you don't like the fit?
Both.
I kind of like the fit.
I just don't know about. I like DeJounte. I just any guy and he played well coming off the Achilles last year.
He did. It seemed like he didn't really miss any time at all when he came back.
Yeah, because he's not 30 yet. And if I
imagine being 30. Anyway, let's talk about DeAndre Jordan a little bit. No,
Rich Paul is DeJounte Murray's agent, by the way.
Oh, is he? Yeah. That's awesome. This guy is everybody's agent.
Anyway, continue.
Do we think over under 6.5 points for DeAndre Jordan this upcoming season?
In the whole season?
In the whole season.
He's gonna have one game where he turns back the clock and he has like 11 and 8.
You think he's gonna have 11
in one game?
You think he's gonna score double digits in one game?
One game. What do you think his season high was last year?
I'll take that bet.
What do you think his season high was last year?
Dude, I'm going to tell you what. If I knew DeAndre Jordan's season high from last season off the top of my dome, I would expect you to arrest me. Because that would be just maybe the worst thing.
He might have got up to like 16.
Dang, he had 8. But he had a game with 6 points and 15 boards last year.
15 boards? Yeah, 15 boards is crazy.
15 boards
I'll take a bet that he does not reach double digits at all next year. Do a lunch bet.
Okay, that's fine. He definitely was not going to, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Go.
I'm locked in.
I'm getting lunch next April, baby. Let's go. Nobody's gonna remember this except for Mark in chat or Chris Kaufman, who wanted us to say his name for his daughter. Write this down, okay? If DeAndre Jordan does not get 10+ points in a game, Gil owes me lunch.
Yeah, it's gonna be like April 4th next year. Like,
and he's gonna get 20 and 20.
Hey, Gil, DeAndre Jordan hasn't scored double digits yet. I'm like, dang, I forgot about that.
Dude, but think about the dopamine hit that you're gonna get if he does score 10+ points. You know what?
I'll be locked in.
Mark says Adam Silver ruined free agency, and I agree because it's 3:30 and we're talking about DeAndre Jordan scored 10 points next season. This is insane.
Or maybe he fixed it.
That was deep.
Anyways, I think DeJounte would be fun with the Suns. Obviously, that would entail more furniture moving. I think DeJounte is a very complete basketball player. His defense would directly align with what Jordan wants to do with this team. And naturally, his offense, being able to do things on the ball and even more so off it too, would work as well. Plus wingspan for a guy that's about maybe 6'4", 6'5", 6'4"-ish.
6'4", 6'5", yeah.
But a plus wingspan there, so that helps him get deflections and steals. And he actually wants and cares a lot about playing defense too. So I think it would be fun if he did come to the Suns. Obviously, that means that things would shift yet again. But he's somebody that would fit for sure.
Yeah. Not Shams, not Chris Haynes. And obviously when Shams tweets things, we know it's 100% for sure. But Ari report says Bones Highland back to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
We got it from John Krasinski too.
Oh, okay.
It's not Jim Halpert, but John.
Okay, cool. The other John Krasinski.
Yeah, we love it when the local reporter gets the scoop, and I didn't know they called themselves the Twin Turbos backcourt. Him and Ayo Dosunmu.
That's not real. The Twin Turbos
Highland
backcourt?
established himself as a rotation player, team with Ayo Dosunmu in the Twin Turbos backcourt.
Brian with a 20 peso.
They could have
super
said
chat.
Twin City Turbos, but continue.
Yeah, Twin City Turbo. Yeah, that's way better. Brian says, once again, here to ask Eric to take a shot. Mexico in 4. I mean, I can't take a shot of that because that's for the winner of our World Cup thing. I don't really have anything.
And one of our
to take a shot
team just
here.
went down today.
I did take when I went to the Mexico South Korea watch party at Backyard. I took a shot of Don Julio 1942 for Team Mexico. So you're welcome, Brian. Bones Highland back on the Timberwolves. Good move for them.
I mean, they got to keep as much continuity as possible. That's a lot of guards.
I mean,
that
yes,
roster.
they do definitely need a forward, but Bones played okay for them.
He was more than that.
I mean, in the playoffs, he had some good games.
So he killed the Suns last year for sure.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he had a couple. Like, how many times did we see this against the Suns this past year? And he stepped up when needed in some moments for them. He got into. It's just interesting. You know, they did what they did to make the move to get Rob Dillingham in the draft a couple years ago, and Bones kind of just became what they envisioned Rob to be, and then Rob ends up somewhere else. But big credit for Bones. Had to kind of find his way in the league. The Clipper situation was what it was. Denver situation was what it was, but finds an answer, finds a spot, and we talk about it again. If you have the talent, if you work hard, and you find the right situation, things will start to happen for you. And I think that's what Bones Highland situation is another example of.
You know, we talk a lot about maybe LeBron holding up this free agent market. I think some of the other restricted free agents that we haven't talked about a ton could also be holding up the market. I think Jalen Duren is, I don't know if holding up the market, but is one of the bigger players, bigger names to be available, and it's rumored that he wants to go to the Kings. Steven, what do you see with the Duren situation, the disagreement with the Pistons front office, and a possible fit in Sacramento?
Tim Hardaway Jr. to the Miami Heat.
Oh, Tim Hardaway Jr. to the Miami Heat.
That's cool, man.
Chris Haynes wins again.
Chris Haynes in his bag.
Yeah, they're bringing down that number, right? Well, actually, I don't know, because Chris Haynes has this Photoshop here, and I don't know what Chris Haynes
I wouldn't put
knows,
a lot into that.
But it's got a 4
I
on
wouldn't
it.
put a lot into that. I think that they're similar. I think we saw Larry Nance do it too because his dad's numbers retire. I think that it would be really cool to see him wear 10 like his pops did in Miami. Guy went to high school, grew up in Miami. Like, I'm pretty sure this has been like a lifelong type dream. Not a lot of surprise, but that's somebody who
I really wanted them to look into Tim Hardaway Jr. I wonder what the actual money is for Tim Hardaway Jr., but probably a discount to go compete for a championship, which I believe Miami will be doing. A discount to go play for his father's team and probably get his father's number unretired so that he can wear it. Just a great basketball fit for him. And this guy's unconscious. When we're talking about potential
We saw that firsthand too.
Well, I feel like everybody cooked the Suns. But when we're talking about potential Grayson Allen replacements and Luke Kennard not being afraid to shoot, but just certainly not having the volume, Tim Hardaway Jr. is not a guy who has that problem. He will take as many threes as humanly possible. He's been in the NBA for like 13 years now, and he's been averaging 13 points per game that entire time, and he averaged 13 points per game last season. He still has it. Offensively, as a shooter, he is one of the best role player shooters in the NBA. And it's a fantastic signing for Miami.
Absolutely. I think the other part of it, the consequence of that is one fewer shooter. I don't know how many shooters they're going to try to get on that roster, but then that means that maybe a Gary Trent Jr. starts to look elsewhere. Maybe a Luke Kennard starts to look elsewhere. Some of the guys that they were thinking about, because it would appear that Tim Hardaway Jr. was at the top of their priority list. So now the guys who they didn't prioritize, they didn't necessarily want to worry about getting, now they're looking elsewhere. If they want a warm climate, there's one out here.
Yeah, there's one out warm climate that needs a shooter. What happens with Norman Powell? Does this impact anything?
They couldn't afford him.
I saw this interest in Chicago.
I saw there was Detroit interest in
Detroit and Chicago interest in Norman Powell.
Detroit would be great.
Yeah, Detroit would make a lot of sense, but I wonder how much Detroit is still trying to get in on the Tyler Hero part of things.
I'd rather have Norm as a free agent than trade assets for Tyler
that
Hero.
You can control. I agree.
The past few years of Norm's career have been so interesting, where it was like he goes to the Clippers and he is back close to home. He's a San Diego guy, went to UCLA, and he gets snubbed by many people, think he's snubbed for an All-Star. Then he goes to Miami, and then he makes the All-Star selection, but then the moves they make, they can no longer afford to keep him. He's a guy who I think people are saying he's older than he is. I think he's 32, maybe 33 years old, which is wild because I kind of looked at him as inspiration. You can become an All-Star at 31, 32 for the first time in your career. You can do anything in life at that age. It's never too late to start afresh and start new and to have. And honestly, like I know I kind of say that in jest, but when we talk about, but that just one, it's true. But two, when you think about, we talk about a Luke Kennard or guys who were expected to be this, and even it's like, oh well, they're 28 or 29 years old, they'll never be that at this point. Well, we saw Norman Powell do it, and Norman Powell always had signs. If you had looked at that 2019 Raptors team and said that, hey, Norman Powell and Fred VanVleet would one day play in the All-Star game, somebody'd be like, man, you what? This team's all Kawhi, nothing but Kawhi. But it's wild to see what has happened to a lot of those guys who have left since winning, with the topic, obviously, Kawhi now going back, which is pretty funny, too.
Spike saying, Hardaway 1 year, $6.5 million. I don't know where you're getting that. I'm just going to trust you, which is a great deal and probably not the price the Suns could get him at. I do feel like there is a hometown discount.
There's a hometown discount, and there's I get to play with Giannis
and
discount
Bam
as
and
well.
wear my dad's jersey. I'll take a couple million.
So now he's played with Luka. He's played with Jokic, and now he's played with Giannis.
Yeah, he's also played with who else? He played with Melo.
Played with Melo. He did play with Melo.
I
was thinking from the playmaking perspective, but
he's played with some dudes.
Played with Trae Young, right?
He did, dude. He's been around, man.
He played with some of the best players.
Wait, he was before Trae Young. He didn't get there yet. It was 2 cents in New York, but he played with Luka and Jalen Brunson. Cade Cunningham too.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is a really good player. I think that's a great deal for Miami.
I didn't realize this. He was 3rd and 6th man of the year voting this past year. I'd kind of forgotten about that. So.
I couldn't stand him when he was at the other school in Michigan playing with Trey Burke, but they were a problem.
Trey Burke and Mitch McGary.
Yeah, Mitch McGary. And Spike Albrecht. Yeah, they had a squad.
Really like that team.
They had a squad. I did not. Yuck.
No mention of Glenn Robinson III yet, but Karis LeVert, some other guys. We go straight to Spike Albrecht. Shout out to Spike. Cut to
the 2-shot, man. I gotta throw up, man.
Here, I'll change the topic back to other Michigan basketball.
He actually did it, though.
Bobby Marks said on ESPN that the Pistons are planning to match any contract that Jalen Duren has offered. So, you know what this reminds me of? DeAndre Ayton. Now, not that they're the same player, but if you remember that when DeAndre Ayton was a restricted free agent for that second contract in the NBA, the Suns did not go and max him. They allowed him to go and get offers specifically from the Indiana Pacers, who offered him a max.
It's a crazy what if.
Which, of course, is a lower max than what they would have had to pay him, but they waited for that, and they literally matched it within 5 seconds. The news came down, because I was working at the radio station at the time, the news came down that the Pacers offered him a max deal, and before we could even get on the air to talk about it, immediately the Suns matched it. So that feels like a similar situation with Duren. Now, obviously, Ayton wasn't available for a super max contract, which is just insane that Duren really is. But it reminds me a lot of all of that. And if you remember, that was, I don't say the beginning of the end, but DeAndre Ayton, I don't think, was ever fully happy in Phoenix going forward. And it can ruin the relationship with a player to let them go in restricted free agency. In this public of a battle where it's like, we just don't think that you're worth this, so go prove it. That can cause fractions in a front office and player relationship. And for a team like Detroit that's supposed to be on the upswing, that is going to be a tough thing to handle.
We got some NBA news from Shams. The NBA will hold the NBA Cup Championship at Butler's Hinkle Fieldhouse on December 11th next season.
This fucking guy, man.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Throw tomatoes at this man.
I'm going to be honest with you, though. At last year's Cup, I know it was Adam Silver suggested that they would maybe play the championship at his alma mater, which I'm not going to give any more air than we have already on this show today. And I'm really glad they're not playing in Durham, North Carolina.
I'm glad they're not, too.
In Indianapolis, Indiana.
I would love if they played in East Lansing, to be honest. Beautiful facility.
So would the Suns front office.
Very great. It's a sensational location to have any type of NBA atmosphere at.
Dude, you think Shams probably had the biggest shit-eating grin on his face when he sent that tweet?
I'm about to kill him with this one.
Literally, because he knows, right? He knows that everybody's gonna be mad at him. That's so funny.
That is funny though. It's like not.
So
it is
funny
not funny though. It's not
that.
like you're like, oh, we're not playing for Vegas. We're playing for Indy. We're playing for Indy, baby.
Hey, BP Square, stop cussing in the chat, bro. Kara, stop cussing in the chat.
Yeah, see?
Nasty business.
I will say I agree with Kara.
Strike one for both of y'all.
Ann Arbor is beautiful. I've been there. It's a
Strike
good
one
campus.
for I've been there, but not recommend. Strike one for
Shocking.
both of y'all.
Shocking. Man, it is really only just a matter of time before you work for the Suns. Like, it is really written in the
Nasty
stars.
business.
It is written in the stars. So we've got Tim Hardaway Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Ousmane Dieng, Bones Highland.
We saw somebody mention a little earlier. I was gonna bring him up a little later, but since there's just clearly
There's
not too
literally
much
nothing
happening
going
right
on.
now. Jonathan Kuminga. Don't know if he makes as much sense for the Suns as he did prior to them making a trade for Miles Bridges, but I'm curious where he ends up because he's another. He feels ripe for a right situation. He just takes off and runs with it. I wonder if the Clippers would be a team that were interested in his capabilities to play around all of the things that they have with Garland and some of the rookies they brought in. But the
He'd fit
Kawhi
their new
Leonard
timeline
void,
a lot better, yeah.
Brandon Ingram's there now, so he doesn't have to shoulder as much on-ball usage and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just wondering what situations feel like they make. I know it's hard to say that now with so many free agents, but where would you like to see Kuminga end up at?
Where would I like to see him end up at? Kind of Sacramento, because that's like watching a car crash. Like, you just can't look away.
And
They don't have any money.
And they said they're not interested.
Well, they don't have
anymore, right?
any money to give him either, but that would be objectively hilarious. I don't know, man. I'm rooting for Jonathan Kuminga. I want him to go to a place where he can play.
Younger than Axel Lindenberg.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
He is somebody that I hope finds success. He's got a ton of talent. I thought he played okay for Atlanta in the playoffs. Maybe he goes back to Atlanta.
Does
right?
he not feel like a Laker guy?
Nah, I can't see him in purple and gold. I
kinda
can't see him
could.
with JJ. Now I could be wrong, but I can't see him with JJ because Kuminga has, and I'm not saying they're the same player, but they've had some of the same kind of questions and back and forth with head coaches. DeAndre Ayton similar to Kuminga and some of the situations they've been in the last few years. So I just don't know how quickly JJ would personally want to go that route with guys, but I imagine he would play very well playing off of someone like Luka Doncic.
And that was my thought process of just like the idea of getting somebody with, whether you scoff it or not, a championship pedigree. He's won a championship. He's played at a high level in spots and not
Need
consistently.
a replacement?
And he's young still. It's the crazy thing. He's not 23 years old. Not 23. Yeah, he's about to turn 23 in a couple months. And thinking about like just the fact that they could take a bet on his potential. We just talked about Norman Powell figuring it out, or not figuring it out, but taking another step after 30. And you'd make the bet on, hey, here's an opportunity. And also stick it to, the team that traded you away or that didn't treat you the way. You get to play Golden State at least 4 times a year. So that's why when I started thinking about like who would take a flyer that kind of has something to play for, the Lakers come to mind. And speaking of that, we got the same message in different words from Chris Haynes about LeBron.
Sources from
saying
Chris
that
Haynes.
LeBron's going to be patient, open-minded, but the priority is a realistic chance of competing for a championship. He's committed to playing at the highest level, which makes sense, but it is also insane for somebody who's going to be 42 in December.
He's really good. He was the best player in that Rockets series.
Yes.
Like, he is somebody that can absolutely go and change a franchise still at 42 years old. One of the most impressive athletes that has ever existed. And wherever he goes will be competing for a championship next year, because I doubt that he will go anywhere that's not a LeBron James away from competing for a championship. So I don't think he goes to Phoenix. Milo in the chat, CJ says LeBron to Phoenix. There's a pitch for sure. There's a clutch pitch. There's an on-court pitch for sure, but he also does want to get paid. LeBron is a notoriously cheap person and notoriously likes making a lot of money. I don't think he's going to go sign the max, but I don't think he's going to be signing for $6.1 million unless he wants to be really, really close to both of his kids. Just a little bit of a flight away from Bronny, just a drive away from Bryce. Seems like an okay spot.
That's a nice little Sprinter van cruise.
He's probably going to fly to Tucson.
Where you take the
find a
10
way.
down to Tucson from here?
I don't think LeBron would take the 10. LeBron, maybe he gets driven down there. Maybe.
The thing about the money is if the team, if he wants to be here, they'll make some things move around.
Yeah.
They'll make some things move around.
Stop cussing in the chat.
Boom says Mike Conley to the Suns.
Yeah.
Is Mike Conley a free agent?
He is. He is.
Do we think it's over for Unk?
He plans on.
I think
he plans
Minnesota. I think Minnesota will bring him back.
Bring it, but then you have
Another
too many
guard.
guards.
So if
You have
Io,
too many guards.
He's not there for the
if
same
Io
reason
and
as all the
Bo's
other
twin turbos,
guards.
what's
though.
Mike?
Yeah, no.
Old man Riverboat.
Old man Riverboat. It's not about having him take minutes. It's about having him take a roster spot. You have a roster spot for LaMelo, for Ant, for Dante, who's not going to play.
I would,
for Mike,
I would,
for
I would say you need a steady-minded vet presence in that locker room.
LaMelo. He's been around for a long time now.
Correct.
I hear what you're saying, but if they didn't have such a glaring need at all the forward positions, it would make a little bit more sense.
It's not like they're gonna have to rush to bring him back. I say that politely.
No, not at all.
That's what I'm saying. You can handle your business and have him get in where he fits in as far as the cap goes.
There is somebody who asked, realistically, if LeBron wanted to compete for a championship, what's a better place for him to do so? Money aside, Phoenix or Golden State? What do you think?
Golden State.
You think so?
Yes. Stephen Curry is his partner in crime.
Yeah, for sure. But everybody else on that team is so old and injury prone, and they don't have the depth.
Everybody else,
they
the
still
two
have-
dudes at the top are also old and injury
Well, that's what I'm
prone.
saying. Like LeBron missed a lot of the season last year. Steph missed a lot of the season. We don't know how his runner knee is going to be. Draymond is going to love playing with LeBron. I think intellect wise on the court, that's going to be incredible. I don't know about fit wise at times. Kristaps doesn't stay on the court. Al Horford, you got two guys with sciatica at that point, which is probably the first time in NBA history you have two guys on the roster that deal with sciatica at the same time. And you don't have a lot of options here. So
Jimmy Butler still hurt.
Jimmy Butler is still hurt. Who knows when he's going to be back and
Moses
ready to
Moody
play.
is still hurt.
Now, if everybody's healthy, guaranteed it probably is Golden State, right? Because Steph is still that dude, and Kristaps is a great fit with LeBron. But I don't know, man. It might be better for LeBron to join. Is it safe to say the Suns are more of a sure thing than the Warriors next year? Not that either are going to win a championship, but
higher floor.
I think so.
We saw the Golden State floor last year.
I'm not mad at the Suns having a higher floor than Golden State, but I think for LeBron and his interests,
the ceiling,
and the relationships part of all of that as well is Golden State.
Yeah, for sure. I think the way you look at it, you can talk about it percentage chances or whatever, but talk about it through the video game lens. LeBron signs here, you simulate the season to the end 100 times. It might end up 3 times with Larry O'Brien.
Yeah.
If he goes to Golden State, you simulate the season 100 times, you might see somewhere between 10 and 20 times them hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy in a lot of different types of ways and outcomes. But still, that doesn't really make you – I'm not more confident in an old Warriors team over the Spurs that we just saw, over the Thunder that are going to be back and healthy next year. But as we learned this year, any team can have a strike of bad luck.
Absolutely.
Any team could have their second best player, their other All-NBA guy, have a lingering hamstring issue bother them the entire season. And then you could have your point guard sprain his ankle, and that somehow impacts his processing ability, and his basketball IQ goes down because his ankle's bothering him. Those things happen. We saw that happen in the postseason. So, yeah, it's just – but back to the point, there's so many what-ifs with sciatica, runner's knee, ACL recovery, patella recovery, all of those things.
That's so crazy.
You're already up
That's
against
so
it to get into this
Man.
upcoming season. As far as, not to mention the unknown that Kristaps Porzingis is dealing with, even though he got paid, so maybe they figure something out. I don't know, but it does make sense to bring it back, and it would be an interesting narrative piece because it wouldn't feel right to see. But if this would be LeBron's last dance, and it would happen to be with Steve Kerr,
So Anthony Davis plays for the Washington Wizards. Trae Young plays for the Washington Wizards. Could LeBron James follow in Michael Jordan's footsteps and sign with the Washington Wizards? Okay,
And wear 23.
it's obviously not going to happen. It's obviously not going to happen. But
Brian and Bub Carrington, man, stop playing with
I don't know if
me.
you guys know this, but literally not shit is happening right now. So let's talk about what would happen if LeBron was on the Wizards.
Love Bub Carrington, but we didn't have a Spike Albrecht mention, and now
love
Bub
Bub.
Carrington before
keep
Keyshawn
talking
George.
about with me. We're going to have more names get mentioned like that. Shams, get some news rolling.
Yeah, come on, man. Does he know we're doing a show? So
It's because Bub Carrington's a Ravens fan. I know.
What a
Anyway.
team that had Trae Young, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and then the entire Wizards young core. Keyshawn, you have Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, AJ DeBonsa, who they just, I totally forgot they had AJ DeBonsa too. How good would that team be in the East? Would that not be a home court advantage
He's taking
team?
significantly lesser teams to the highest.
No, that's what I'm saying. Could that not be a team
yes.
that wins the East next year? Like,
It could.
Seriously.
It could.
And
If
is there any way
AJ turns into one of those
to put
guys,
a stamp on the GOAT argument than to go to the Washington Wizards and in
do
your
what couldn't be
42nd year on this planet, leading them to a championship in those ugly ass jerseys? Is there any better way to stick it to Michael Jordan than doing that? Please break some news, Shams. I'm begging you, please break some news. Luke Kennard to the Suns in the next 10 minutes, please. Also, Kara says, I'm not breaking up my young team for Braun. It would be a free agent signing. You're not breaking up the young team.
I just don't think, when it comes back to that, speaking of that, I don't think he has the patience for all of that.
But AD and Trae Young are there. It's not patience.
The first time a dude don't cut where they're supposed to need to be, or they in the wrong spot, defensive Bronson go grab him and put him in the right spot. He's like, man, why not do this? It's been like playing with Bryce and Bronny. I could have just played with them for all of that. That's what he's gonna be thinking. He can't have dudes on his team younger than his kids. Like, come on, bro.
I'm just saying.
No, it's real, bro. It's real.
Some of his kids.
Younger than his kid. Younger than his oldest kid.
Yeah. Look, man, maybe LeBron wants to play with DeBonsa. Like, why not? He's pretty good.
Added to the list of
I'd hear you if it was just them, but Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Trae. Dude, they'd be good. I'm the number one Wizards fan in the state of Arizona. I love the Wizards, man. They're gonna be.
I can think of another one.
Yeah, fair enough. I think the Wizards are gonna be the 8th seed next year. That's what I think.
Sheesh.
Please break some news, Shams.
Sheesh.
Please. But I guess the good news is, no news for the Suns, but
PHNX
no Colin
Wizards
Sexton,
podcast.
no Luke Kennard, no Quentin Grimes, no any players that we've talked about the Suns potentially targeting going to another team yet.
Right.
So at least it's not like the Suns are just sitting out while other business is happening that could impact them.
I will say this, we did talk about the Kawhi Leonard trade and the shock of him going back to Toronto. Maybe there's an argument that he shouldn't have left to begin with. But the other half of it, the Clippers got some picks back, but they also got Grady Dick and Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram was an all-star this past year, and the Clippers are betting on youth a little bit. He's going to definitely glow in LA for sure. Back to LA where he began his professional career. But does that make you worried at all? This is another team that was right behind you in the standings this past year.
No, they got worse.
Kawhi is Kawhi.
They got worse.
But okay, they got worse than they were last year. But who knows what Kawhi was going to be this season?
I would put a lot of money in saying that Kawhi Leonard would be better at basketball than Brandon Ingram this year? Than Brandon Ingram this next year.
But
you want to do another lunch bet?
But Brandon Ingram wasn't bad last year.
No, he wasn't bad. But come playoff time, he was.
We did see him cook.
Sure, he's a good basketball player, but he's not Kawhi Leonard level. They got
younger.
They're going to be.
Imagine having been from LA or the LA area and played for both the Lakers and the Clippers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just thinking out loud on that.
There are people just on a random tangent because again, no news is breaking. There are people who are like, "Wow, LeBron's leaving. They should have never broken up that young core of Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and Lonzo Ball." And it's like, do you know where these guys are right now? Like, you'd be a lottery team every single year.
NBA champion Josh Hart.
Yeah, NBA champion Josh Hart, who hates analytics, by the way. But I'm not scared. I'm not scared because here's the thing: you also have to understand that the Clippers' curse is so strong that it didn't work with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard or James Harden, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Like, the Clippers' curse is strong, which, by the way,
speaking of that,
happy 5-year anniversary. I was about to. First off.
I know you in on it too. Come on. You know what happened 5 years ago.
5-year anniversary for Chris Paul putting a nail in his former team's coffin and helping the Suns advance to
take that for
the
leeway.
third ever finals.
41 points, including 31 in the second half, 16 and 24 from the field, 7 of 8 from three.
We need them to
got those boys up out of there real quick.
And a shove that didn't even do nothing to him. That was one of the funniest tweets on my fault, gang. That wasn't meant for you. Yes, it definitely was meant for you. You walked up to him and pushed him. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Ironically, you do the shove, but you the one that get shoved off of the ledge on the season that game. But go crazy, though. Have fun with that podcast.
Go crazy, have fun. Speaking of going crazy and having fun with a podcast, Buddha the Schizo has been a member for 8 months and says with their member super chat, which if you are a member, you get a prepaid super chat every single month, says shout out to the best Phoenix Suns podcast of all ever. Hell yeah. This free agency would not be a frenzy without y'all.
Appreciate you, Buddha.
Appreciate you, Buddha.
You know, Buddha, when when you rock with someone, you will feel comfortable enough to correct them. And I just want to make sure you spell frenzy the right way. It's with a P and a H. So it's frenzy. PHRENZY. Just for today.
Come on, Buddha.
Appreciate you, Buddha.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that's not how we spelled it in the thumbnail. So
we're all learning here.
We're all getting there.
A for accountability.
You know, I do want to circle back. It was a question that we got a while ago. Well, also this question from Spike.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, PHNX crew, what do you think is behind Sun signing Bouye? Is this just something to have on roster on a non-guarantee so he does not leave?
Well, according to Keith Smith yesterday, the Suns love Jamari Bouye. Mm-hmm. He is, besides Jalen Green, their best guard at getting to the rim and shot at an insanely high efficient rate last year. He is certainly a third-string guard for them, but has proven that he could play a bit, and his money's not guaranteed. So it makes sense. It made less sense for them to do this if they didn't do a 2-for-1 trade. But apparently, the Suns, and it makes a lot of sense, love what Jamari Bouye brings as a third-string guard.
And I think that's the other part of it, too. We don't know what happens as a guarantee date on the
checkmate, Buddha. You right?
That's right. It has not been a frenzy yet. That's a great point. He's no longer eligible for a 2A contract anymore. I know he got converted last year. I don't think he would go back anyway. But I don't think that there's like any type of restrictions from him being sent down at times to play with the Valley Suns. I don't necessarily know if he'd want to do that either.
Yeah.
But when I'm thinking about what you talked about last year, having a point guard, a steady hand to just make the development part easier for the young guys when they went down there. That's something that's in the back of my mind as maybe not necessarily a real possibility. And I also don't necessarily recognize or know that means he'll be with this team at the last day of the season next year. But that's a possibility at least.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with what his terms are in terms of how many completion of years experience-wise he has in the league and what that entails for how often he can be available for, G League games and all of that stuff. So I don't want to speak where I'm just not privy to. But if he is capable of that, to your point, that's something that will help with everything. I think if you're looking at how he's helping a team, if you have someone that can just get downhill so consistently, I think that's something that will help them kind of build out when you're talking about, okay, we're game planning to go against X team or go against Y team. Being able to have somebody like Jamari that can play the role of insert guard here and you throw constraints at your starters like, hey, we can't let this guy score. We're playing a 5-minute game, last 5 minutes of a game. Anybody but that guy. And every time he does score, like that's a way for you to incentivize him for playing to his strengths, but also use him as a piece to help you build your team out and preparing for other teams.
Jamari plays good defense too. Really long wingspan. Blocked a couple shots he shouldn't have blocked. That was my main thing when the Suns signed him after playing with the Bucks from his stint. That I was like, I'm really impressed with his defense. We have a Shams bomb, but not really. Kawhi Leonard of the Raptors has been agreed to. Sources tell ESPN Shams Charania the Clippers will receive unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, a 2030 and 2033 second-round picks, and a 2027 first-round swap. So now, obviously, it's a little bit different, but there have been 4 unprotected 2033 first-round picks traded this offseason. One for Giannis, one for LaMelo, one for Kawhi, and one for Miles Bridges.
Did you? We're in on it. We're in on it. Did you?
Now, to be fair, the packages around the rest of those
different.
unprotected picks were obviously a lot different for what obviously was traded for Miles versus these other players. But just for context as to how valuable that asset is, even by itself, it is being moved for the most valuable players across the NBA and for Miles Bridges.
I don't know if you saw the graphic, but 2003 draft was LeBron.
Yeah.
2013 was Giannis. 2023 was Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, shit.
The bet every 10 years.
That's great.
You get somebody. So that's why 2033
awesome.
is like everybody's getting in on that. We did get a little bit of a nugget of news. Not really.
The Nuggets?
No.
Cam Johnson to the Suns?
Kelly Oubre is going to meet with the Sixers, Lakers, Pacers, and Trailblazers, among other teams.
Oh, he doesn't want to come home.
Got some things to sort out if that would be the case.
I don't think you want to.
The OG Valley boy.
He was the OG Valley boy, and then we traded him right after doing a photo shoot of him in the Valley
I'd be upset
jerseys.
too. I would be upset too. I'm not mad at him for being mad.
Something that I found interesting from Bobby Marks on Twitter. He said that they have the Miami Heat have, I think, 3 to 4 roster spots left, and they have like 11.5 or 11.6 mil before they get to that apron. So they have some needle threading that they're gonna have to continue to do. Obviously, we got the terms on the Tim Hardaway Jr.
6.5.
signing. Is he going to be the guy that gets the most of this kind of group of shooters that they're looking from? Do you assume?
Like from any team?
Yeah.
No,
no. Specifically
just
going
from
to
the
Miami.
Heat?
Going to Miami.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a reason why he was the first guy they went after.
For sure.
Because they wanted him, and honestly, I feel like he's the best fit. I feel like he is the perfect fit next to Giannis and Bam, who are really plus playmakers at their size. We saw what he did next to Jokic, and that really worked well for him as well. So I feel like it was a match made in heaven for both sides. Obviously, the Hardaway side of things, but also the Miami Heat side of things. I think it's a great deal. From Miami specifically, if they have 4 to 5 roster spots and $11.5 million, it's going to be a lot of minimums, and they're going to have to do what a lot of teams that trade for stars do, which is shop at the minimum. Which reminds me of how exciting it was when the Suns went and got Chimezie Metu and Yuta Watanabe and Drew Eubanks. And you know what? Maybe it's not a bad thing that all these signings haven't happened, because that year the signings came down almost immediately after the free agency period began, and the Suns immediately got those guys. So maybe it is better that it takes a little bit more time for these deals to come through.
Yeah. I like what Miami has going on. I think they have a fun foundation established. I'm looking forward to seeing how they build the rest of their roster out. Do y'all feel like they're in the same situation as the Suns as far as the roster is what it is, just go get shooting or go get shooting guards?
Like the Suns currently?
The current Suns.
Yeah, they need.
Like
especially if you're losing Norm. You lose Norm and Hero, that's your entire perimeter of creation.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking of the Suns when they went all in on
KD,
on having that and gutting your roster in a sense of saying, all right, we're going to bet on the guys wanting to come here and wanting to play. Now you still have culture pieces like Davion Mitchell and things like that. But the other part I think about too, I think the Heat were in the same boat in 2010, 2011 when it was kind of like, oh, they can just get anybody to come play here and they'll be fine, which is also wild to think back to those salary figures. I remember it was like LeBron signed for 15, D-Wade was 15, Chris Bosh was 15 a year, which is crazy right now. We're talking about the MLE in this day and age. That's what they were signing for, and they were taking pay cuts for that too. But we thought that they could just have anybody around them, and the guys could have played better in that final series, but you also saw them lose to a better composed team led by a star who played at a better level for the duration of that series. So I caution myself to think that obviously Bam and Giannis good luck scoring on that team. It's Heat culture that speaks for itself. But again, like I say it respectfully, I don't think that we'll see a repeat champion again next year. And it feels like a lot of these moves, people are being very, very calculated, which again, like I was very close to it. Like but I just keep in my head saying, man, Kawhi Leonard's really going back to the Toronto Raptors, which is really nuts right now. Like that, that has my mind kind of in a pretzel right now.
Yeah, well, part of the reason also why there's not a ton of free agency news right now is because a lot of these restricted free agents or the free agents that negotiate with their own teams or guys with player options opted not to test out free agency. Just to kill time here a little bit, but also update people as to why there's not a lot of moves. I'm just going to read off some of the names that are no longer available on the free agent market that could have been free agents. Fred VanVleet opting into his player option. James Harden is a free agent. He declined his player option. Sacramento Kings guard Zach LaVine opted into his $49 million player option. Draymond Green is a free agent. He opted out of his. Obviously, he's expected to go back to Golden State. I don't think he's going anywhere. Mamu out of Toronto is declining his player option. He's out there. Josh Minot signed a new 2-year deal.
Why not Minot?
For 1 second, I think Sandro Mamukel's would be very good for everything that Minnesota wants. I feel like he's a piece that can just shoot, be connected, playmaking, won't care about touches, and just does enough on the margins to be just solid.
Yeah, I think he might be the most underrated free agent out there right now. If you watched Toronto last year, he was a high impact player who I have not seen. I have not seen a lot of rumors about him getting big money. Right, it kind of feels like Toronto needs him too because they got Pirtle, but they need another. They need another like big.
Our weekly Pirtle.
Yes, Pirtle. Which it would have been funny if they traded him for Kawhi.
That would have been.
Yeah, that would have been wild.
Trade a mid range scorer in Brandon Ingram, DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a couple first-round picks.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been crazy.
But
That
instead,
would've been crazy.
it finally happens. Poeltl and Leonard together. Day'Ron Sharpe going back to the Nets. DeAndre Ayton opts into his player option, is returning to the Lakers. Toronto Raptors are keeping Trace Jackson-Davis on a team option. Miami Heat re-signing Andrew Wiggins on a 3-year, $64 million contract. That's a very big addition for them. He can bring some scoring and obviously a lot of defense. Marcus Smart is a free agent. He declined his player option. Thomas Bryant returns to the Cavaliers on a 1-year deal. Bradley Beal declines his $5.6 million player option.
Pause, not on Bradley Beal, but before. There are a lot
Thomas
of people.
Bryant?
One before.
Marcus Smart.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of the rumblings and rumors that he could be destined to go back to his home state and play for the Rockets.
Yeah.
Is that
the
something?
coach he got a DPOY, made the finals with,
Back,
all of that.
reunited with Ime
consistency.
and the team that he torched during the playoffs
Yeah,
too.
that too.
Does that, when we talk about the landscape of the Western Conference teams that you expect to be in direct competition with, does that make them better? Are you more concerned about Houston? I think he brings a little bit of order. Fred VanVleet
Sure.
will also bring order being back on the court, but that comes to mind when I think about the
He
Rockets.
makes them better.
He brings them one. He brings them one more piece to not have to put or overtask their guard group with, because he can just do so much. You can play Marcus at one of 3 positions and one of 4.5 on defense, depending on who you're going against that night. So like someone like Reed Shepherd immediately benefits Marcus Smart around, in addition to Fred VanVleet, because now what is he doing? A whole lot of off the ball stuff, which is a lot more what he's inclined to doing at this present moment in his career.
Yeah. Marcus Smart would make them better. I don't know if he's the best solution
Yeah,
for
but
them.
not worried.
Yeah.
But
He's
like based
better.
on who's available,
Yeah,
probably
he's
the best
better.
based on what's available.
Yeah.
They really need Reed to take a leap in Van Fleet to come back to his old self. I could also see Marcus Smart just hating Reed Shepherd. I don't know why. Probably because like he'd be on Ime's side on everything, and it's very clear that Ime does not like Reed Shepherd. Stop me when you want to talk about somebody. Landry Shamet, new 4-year, $24 million deal to return to the New York
Good for
Knicks.
him.
Congrats, champ. They said he took less money to stay in New York.
That's what James Dolan's trying to do for everybody. The Thunder picked up Lou Dort's $17.7 million player option, which was a surprise to a lot of people. He's on a
Could be
free
trade
agent.
chip.
Which, by the way, Hartenstein also re-signed on a new 3-year deal with the Thunder as well. So those are free agents that didn't hit the market. Julian Champagny, new 3-year, $45 million contract with the San Antonio Spurs. He forgoes seeing the open market. Yusuf Nurkic returns to the Utah Jazz on a 2-year, $22 million contract. Interesting maybe about the future of Walker Kessler there. Kevin Huerter, who's somebody that was linked to the Suns, is returning to Detroit on a 3-year, $27 million deal. We mentioned Porzingis returning to the Warriors. Harrison Barnes is back on the Spurs on a 1-year, $8 million deal. That was somebody that the Suns reportedly had interest in looking into. And then Simone Fontecchio returning to the Heat. Rob Williams returning to the Trailblazers. Like, the majority of all of this, Jock Landale returning to the Hawks, are players who are returning to these teams, which shores up this free agent market, which also might make it less imperative for these agents to go out there and get a deal done right away, because there's not somebody else who's going to go sign before you, because all the players who might have been in competition are off of the market.
It's interesting because now, as we said, like that part is handled as well. There's the part of let's be measured and let's not make it seem like anything nefarious was happening as far as negotiations go. And then there's also the big domino part of, okay, let's wait and see if we can get the big fish first.
New LeBron nickname, the Big Domino?
The big domino, the big fish, the big chip shot, since he's a golfer now.
You think he rocks with the gray all season, the gray beard?
No way, but he should. Gray beard.
He totally should.
He should definitely do that at this point. But
Please break some news, Shams.
But thinking about that, like, there are a lot of teams who are like, well, let's just like, and agents and other players probably understand, hey, because getting LeBron is, one, first and foremost, a big basketball thing for a team, but it's a big business decision for a franchise as well. So players and agents understand, well, I'm going to eventually get my payday, and I might be able to use this as leverage. Like, oh, you wanted me so bad you had me wait now. Okay, well, how bad do you want me now? Let's up this by a little bit. Let's put some more guarantees in this contract. Give me some more incentives.
Teams might be more desperate as time goes on.
Exactly. So I think that's a fascinating wrinkle. I'm not to say I'm super surprised by LeBron saying he's moving on from Los Angeles, but it's not something that we would have taken into account when we thought we would see what we were seeing at this point in time. And it's very different from the typical early first few hours of official free agency.
It's definitely different. I think the anticipation, the build up to free agency is always going to be there. I think what made this year a little unique, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been like Keith Smith or someone in that ilk of NBA reporting that said it's going to be a little different this year just off of the build up to it because of how many emails how many tweets we got about contracts being leaked and things like that. It's like the biggest thing is just going to be, okay, when does each individual deal or transaction get finalized as far as the confirmation emails that come out from respective teams' PRs. So that's definitely a little different. I feel like we got a lot of news over the last 2 weeks that we usually would get today. So that kind of lessens the blow a little bit, if you will, but it is definitely different nonetheless.
Yeah, again, look at the Suns. They brought back all three of their returning free agents. JP3 says, do you guys think the Suns will actually start the season with all 15 roster spots? Last year, they started with 14 spots with Butler and Goodwin competing for the 14th spot. Could they do the same this year? I feel like they're going to go in with 15.
I think 14.
So you think Bouye gets cut? Haywood gets cut?
And
they make another trade?
It's tough with both of those, but I'm not convinced that they'll both be on the roster come opening night. Now, we were at the facilities, and Haywood was leaving as we were walking in the other day, so he's spending the summer here.
I didn't get a chance to ask him about Lamar. I was itching to do it, too.
Next time, I'm sure. But those are both two guys that Keith Smith said this team feels very confident about. And I hope, because of the flashes that we saw, I hope Haywood is back to being himself because we saw flashes of him being himself. But there's a timeline in which there is a little bit of disbelief or a lack of confidence in where he is physically, and that I think would be what would be a breaking point with him. There could be the 15th guy they bring in might not be up to speed.
Well, but if they sign somebody as a free agent right now, that's their 15th guy. I kind of trust what Keith said, and I feel like the Suns think they got good value on Haywood and Bouye and wouldn't cut them until you get into the season to see if they have a chance or not. So going into the season, I think they have 15. There's a chance in December they go down to 14. But until that guarantee date, I believe both Haywood and Bouye will be on the roster. Spike says, why don't you guys talk about Livers or Coffee? Any predictions of their future? Not with the Phoenix Suns.
Right. The big thing with Isaiah Livers is that he is no longer eligible for a two-way contract. That probably would have been the best/only avenue for him to return. He's played too many years, has too many years of service under his belt, so he cannot come back. Amir Coffey, I think he had some big moments, but I don't think he showed enough consistently throughout the year to be someone that they prioritized bringing back. I think if you didn't have the amount of guys who did similar things and not necessarily a better way, but a way that fits what this team wants to do a little more, that would be it. But I do think he was good for what he was when he was here.
He was, and Kara brings up a good question, too, about Haywood, just asking if he was insurance. If they moved Grayson, necessarily looked at Haywood as
not
that.
The same players.
But I get what she's getting at in terms of having someone of that kind of age realm and kind of able to play multiple positions. I get that part, but they're definitely Grayson did a lot, but was specifically brought in for the shooting part, and obviously 2H was brought in specifically for the defensive versatility side. That being said, though, question for y'all, I guess since the initial posed question about the open roster spot when they open the season, do you still value Haywood the same way if you're factoring in, okay, they drafted Koa Pete, they traded for Miles Bridges, you're banking on a Rasheer Fleming bump up. You still have Dillon Brooks. Obviously, you have Oso Ighodaro around still. Are you still seeing Haywood through the same lens as when he was brought into the team?
The same lens? No. Do I think he could still be important? Yeah. The Grayson Allen insurance, to me, it felt more like Haywood Highsmith was Rasheer Fleming, Ryan Dunn, Royce O'Neal insurance, right? If one of those guys goes down or if Rasheer or Ryan aren't ready for playoff minutes, then this is the guy that we can bet on bringing that. Yeah. Haywood feels like an ultimate puzzle piece for me. He could play alongside Miles and Dillon. He could play alongside Rasheer. He could play alongside Ryan. He can play alongside all of the forwards. There was one game that I was so excited that it was a Devin Booker and all wings lineup they played, and that's something I could see them leaning more
Toronto
into this year.
Or Boston, one of those two.
It was in obviously that latter part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Book, Ryan, Haywood, Rasheer, and it might have been Kennard who was on the court with them. It was just a whole lot of length and defensive versatility. Haywood, at the low price that he is, what we saw him be in Miami as a rotation piece, he might not be that anymore, but if that's in there, Gil, that's a player that might be your backup power forward if Rasheer or Ryan isn't ready.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I see a known commodity. There are still what ifs with the younger guys, and the hope and plan is for them to one day be better than Haywood, and they might have more talent. They might be taller. They might be more athletic, whatever it is. But I think that Haywood has the biggest one over them all. He's more consistent than they are right now. And you want to bring in a guy who will also be 30 this season, who's still consistent. We've seen what he does when he's at his best. I think back to poking the ball free, or the lobs that he threw, the ways he was shooting the ball well that game at TD Garden. That was the encapsulation of what they anticipated getting with Haywood Highsmith. Now, what we talked about yesterday and what Keith Smith mentioned is that the rumblings are that they didn't really think they thought he was good enough to go, but that he wasn't 100%. He wasn't himself, and that's why we saw him get shelved a little bit. But now the way I see it is you go into this upcoming year and you have that wing of guys who can play the 3 and the 4, and you go out there and see who wins the competition, who's the most consistent throughout camp, who's the most consistent throughout training camp and preseason, and then when the season starts. But you also have the luxury of, Haywood doesn't have it tonight, let's go Ryan. Ryan doesn't have it tonight, let's go Shear. Let's play Shear and Ryan together, because we've seen with that. Let's play Haywood and Shear together. Let's play Ryan and Haywood. So I think you kind of have that plug and play. Now it does get more complex when you factor in Miles Bridges and Koa Pete, because those are minutes at 3 and 4, and I don't necessarily know what the plan is with Koa right away.
I just don't factor in Koa at all.
I don't fully, but then I start thinking about some guys who are just that talented, it just clicks.
I agree, but at least at the beginning of the season, I just don't see him in the rotation. Right. I think he's going to get a lot of run in the Valley Suns, and part of that changes my opinion after they trade for Miles Bridges. But before the trade for Miles Bridges, I could see the need for that. But Miles Bridges isn't going to bring you the same stuff that Koa Pete is going to bring you, but he is going to be your power forward with an interior paint presence. So it is kind of where Koa's lane is, and I don't see them playing together. So I guess maybe a little bit, but I don't factor in Koa because there's already a young power forward at that position that's in need of playing time, and now you just traded for a veteran power forward, and then you also have guys that could play that position like Dillon, like Ryan, and like Haywood as well. So until I get proven otherwise, now maybe he has a great summer league, he has a great camp, and all we're hearing about is Koa Pete is a lottery pick. Koa Pete's a guy that should have gone in the top 10, and we start the season and he's not down in the G League and he's on the roster and he doesn't go down. That's a different conversation. Right. Or if they cut Haywood and they do make a 2-for-1 trade and they get rid of Haywood and they bring more guys in that are guards or smaller wings, then I could see it. I just personally can't factor Koa in. I'm not low on him by any means, but just for this beginning of the season, no.
And to be fair, I'm not expecting that to happen.
Seems like you're really expecting it. You want to make another bet. That's what it seems like.
I'm about to just be buying this guy lunch all season.
3 lunches this year.
We got to find the buy one, get one places around here. But no free ads. I'm not shouting any of them out.
We want to shout out one place, though. You know who you are. You don't, but you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Erickson just lit up behind the Mac.
But no, but I was going to say there. But there is a timeline in which that happens, however likely or not it is. I just want to factor that is something that could happen, but I'm not expecting it to happen by any means. But again, just the acknowledgement of the talent that he has and maybe the idea of him figuring it out at some point.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up because it's something I've been actively thinking about. Goes without saying, I was like the highest on Haywood. If he hit on the health side, what his impact could be for the Suns. Bringing some things they maybe didn't have with the size and wingspan and athleticism that he brings on top of the experience and just playing at some of the highest levels, having that impact with Miami. I don't know. I still feel like he can carve out a niche with this team, but it gets harder to see the route to minutes on the depth chart or in the rotation when you're looking at the 7 wings that can get minutes at the 3 or the 4 that we're speaking to, and it just added 2 more obviously between the draft and then with the trade. So I don't know, it gets a little tough, but I still see if it's open season competition wise and Haywood's healthy, I can't see him losing, not having an opportunity in some capacity within that faction of wings and 4s that they have on the roster right now.
Whew. Well, we're sitting here talking about the Suns' current roster, and we're kind of waiting to hear and see any free agency news. And feels like we might not get any in this period of time. But we started off the show, and we named a couple guys, and we mentioned Luke Kennard. You mentioned Colin Sexton. You mentioned Jordan Clarkson. Tim Hardaway Jr. is somebody who you talked about, no longer on the board. He's headed to Miami. As we go into, I guess, what is the second, third hour of free agency, and as we wind down here, who or what do you have your eyes on when it pertains to what the Phoenix Suns could, would, should do as free agency gets further underway?
Too much smoke around Luke Kennard, man. Too much smoke. It just feels like he will be a Phoenix Sun. There's also some lighter smoke around Colin Sexton. Would be pretty surprised if it's not the two of them or one of the two of them that end up being signed to the Suns, but there's always signings that come out of nowhere. That is how I have personally been preparing for everything, and I'd be pretty surprised if it goes the other way. So that's where I'm at, but I'd still be pleasantly surprised with a couple of other names that maybe haven't been linked to the Suns as much.
But would you be disappointed if it wasn't him?
No, I want Quentin Grimes. If it's not them, then I'll take a Quentin Grimes or a LeBron James.
So I wouldn't be disappointed if it's this guy. I actually want the guy that's better.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, if it's not one of those, I expect it to be those two guys. I wouldn't be disappointed if it's not. Unless, I mean, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, unless it is bringing back, like, an Amir Coffey or somebody that you don't see immediately factoring in the rotation. If you're going to sign somebody right now as a guard, I need them to have a discernible skill that fits directly into the rotation today. That's what I need. So that's what I'm looking for.
Ayrton, if we could go back up in the chat, there was a question from Spike about Miles Bridges in particular. It was asking
time ago.
It was probably about 45 minutes to an hour ago now. But he was asking about his ability to get downhill and kind of how I gauge and assess that. We touched on it a little bit on yesterday's show, but biggest thing for me is transition. So Miles has shown to be an 85th percentile or better defensive rebound guy 2 of the last 3 years. This year being the one that's on a little lower side. He was in like the 60 to 70 percentile range, but largely because he had other guys capable of rebounding on the team last season with the Hornets, to which they were a top 5 in defensive rebound rate. So he chipped in, but just not as the focal point of a rebounding group last season. Look at that with the Suns. One of the biggest weaknesses, defensive rebounding. He's not like a Giannis tier defensive rebound behemoth per se, but he's somebody that can certainly chip in and get on the glass with physicality in ways that, and on size that the Suns just did not have at that position last season. So imagining him with the Suns. Suns are a team that love to get transition threes and just generally play off of stops. If you're getting even marginally more stops because you're rebounding the basketball defensively a little bit better, and Miles is a guy that's consistently chipping in on that, your transition just got 2 seconds faster because you don't have to grab board, find outlet, and then get ball to outlet, and then get into your transition. It's grab. Everybody sees that Miles is the person going for the board. You can start taking off, fill that deep corner, fill that wing. And if you're if someone like Oso or even Mark Williams, you can just start your lane running now. And how he can kind of be a funnel for offense with the open court. Defense not set. Help defenders are just non-existent in transition. The paint is wide open. If he's just grabbing, going, getting to the rim, and making decisions after getting a deep rim-threatening paint touch, that just juices the offense that was already good, giving them a 2-point dynamic to go and complement with the threes.
He's not the best at it. Like, he's not the best, as far as rebounding. He's not the best scorer in the league, but he's better at doing the type of scoring that the Suns need and the type of rebounding the Suns need than the two guys they traded out. So it is an upgrade. It's not an ultimate upgrade, like you mentioned. It's not a Giannis. He's not this high-level elite scorer in the league anymore, but he has better rim presence than Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal. He's bigger than Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen.
He's the Suns' best rim presence.
Yeah,
I mean
unless a fully healthy Jalen Green who's confident, we just haven't seen that. That guy does get to the rim.
I think, and I don't go against you. Yeah, and I'm not going against you on that for sure because I do agree. But just kind of to that point, a little more context. Last season, Mark Williams led the Suns with 306 rim field goal attempts. Also was second with 220. In his lowest number over the last 4 seasons, Miles Bridges would have been number 1 on the Suns with 314 attempts at the rim. Solid percent coming in transition, just getting to the cup that way. A lot of them also coming from post-ups, which don't get looked at through the lens of rim pressure because you usually think drives and cuts. But you think about what happens on a drive or a cut. It usually gets 2 to the ball in reaction to trying to protect the basket. So if Miles is on a post-up, commits to a move and gets a paint touch to where someone else has to help, you created that same situation of rim pressure and being able to play off of that kind of advantage.
The Suns are a fast break team now. Like, that's going to be their identity.
In the starting lineup, they have to be that.
Yeah, even off the bench, Colin, I guess they can run more 2-man game in like the half court, but this is going to be a very fast paced team.
Thinking about that too offensively, and this is a question I wanted to get a while back from Mark and Miles. I'll lead into it because we're talking about Miles Bridges. Last 3 seasons, 33.2% from deep on 6.5 attempts per game. And what Mark asked was, on the way out with Grayson and Royce, combined, that is
16,
about 15.6 3-point attempts per game. How is that made up for this year? Well, I would expect Miles to shoot somewhere between 6 and 7 again this upcoming year, and that leaves somewhere around 10 3-point attempts to be had of them across the team if you expect them to play the same way, which I do expect them to play at least similarly. Maybe I even make up 13 of those 16 or something like that. But when you think about, is it somebody getting more shots? Is it somebody coming off the bench shooting the ball more? I'm curious how you see that playing out.
Yeah, Devin Booker, step up. I start there. Devin Booker, you need him to take more.
How many years have we said that?
5.8 threes per game.
How many years have we said that about the 3 ball?
But my thing is, and we can go back to a little bit of the Kevin Durant dynamic, and it's not because Miles Bridges is Kevin Durant. Miles Bridges operates in similar contexts of play on the court that Kevin Durant did. The mid post, the low post, the elbow area of the floor, free throw line extended at times in isolation. That tilts the defense in a different way to where you have someone that has a little bit of gravity, even in the slightest bit, even if you just got the big 2-9 underneath the basket. That's a capacity. It's not a full-out blitz, but it's an effective iteration of a two to the ball, if you will. If Devin Booker is spaced to pass away, or Devin Booker's opposite 45 or in the opposite corner, he's in a position to where he can receive catch and shoot threes. And we talked about him being a bottom percentile guy in catch and shoot threes attempted last season, all season long. No one was really able to create for him. Not saying Miles Bridges is Kevin Durant or an elite playmaker, but the context of play that he operates in, and from his film, and even going back to Michigan State, his ability to be an above-average playmaker, especially at his position, that naturally nets Devin Booker more opportunities at catch and shoots in a unique way than they were able to consistently create for him last year.
Remember, they did it without Grayson Allen for over half of last season anyway, right? And that's also part of the conversation here about bringing in Miles Bridges, who played a lot of games last year. Royce obviously played a lot of games last year, but Grayson didn't. So the Suns already had to survive without half of those three-pointers attempted, and sometimes Grayson would come in and take 10, 11, or 12 three-pointers, and sometimes he'd hit a lot, sometimes he wouldn't. Reality is the Suns, I don't think, will take as many threes this year, maybe a couple less per game.
I think they can still get them.
I think they can still get there, but
I think the
personnel is just different.
There's a bit of misconception with the Suns.
41. It took 41 a game last year, by the way.
Because what the Suns did last season, like you talk about their threes and you talk about the shots they were creating, they shot more pretty much in balance percentage-wise, more threes from transition than they did in the half court in particular. And I say that because in transition, they were 5th last season in terms of three-point attempts alone. That means that they were getting their threes off of stops, and they were getting their threes more so off of the turnovers that they were able to force.
And two guys who did that a lot were Grayson and Royce, though.
But my thing, and that's what I'm getting to, shot quality-wise, if they're getting those opportunities and they're maybe creating more of those because of the continuity from last season to now, you can still get a solid breadth of the threes you're taking in transition, the highest quality threes outside of offensive rebounds that you can generate. Now the question becomes, to the point of the question, I think, how do you create them in the half court? Devin Booker, 2 to the ball. Miles Bridges, post-ups, draws 2, especially against teams that love to switch against the Suns last year. Can't live with those as effectively. I think they can still manipulate the game to their will as long as their execution level and ball security is where it needs to be.
Well, they still can. They're still going to take a lot of threes. Jordan Lott's philosophy is very clearly, I don't want to say it's Missoula ball, but it got to the point a lot last year, especially when you're at a talent deficit at times. If you're injured, is you got to take a lot of threes, especially in transition. I just believe that naturally guys like Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen a little bit differently, but like Royce couldn't do anything inside the three-point line. So whenever there's an opportunity to shoot a three, Royce is going to take it, Grayson's going to take it. They'll even make an opportunity to take one. When you have Miles Bridges and Jalen Green on the court together, you're going to see some threes, and you're going to think to yourself, well, I'm going to go get a 2, especially with Miles. He could shoot the threes, but if he's on a transition, Miles will pull up from 3. He's going to go to the rim, though, most of the time and try to catch a body. So I just feel like naturally with the type of players that you have, you sent out 2 shooters, you brought back somebody who can shoot, but certainly not at the volume or at the percentage of the 2 guys you sent out. Naturally, your game plan will revolve more around the rim. But if they add a Luke Kennard, that's going to help change some things. Maybe Colin even takes another step as far as volume on his three-pointer shot if he gets kind of an uppage in minutes and usage as well. So Jalen Dillon, Book, these are below average three-point shooters at times. So they need to raise their floors and not have as many dips for the Suns to make that up. But they might just not take as many threes, and that might not be a bad thing.
I think that's where the challenge for Devin Booker comes from, though. I can't imagine they're going into this offseason saying, Devin, if you just maintain what you did shooting threes last season, we'll be where you want to be. I can't imagine that's the conversation. So if you start with finding a unique way to challenge your best player, not making him exempt from being challenged in ways that you're challenging everyone else on your roster, now you're starting to build up that kind of establishment, that foundational season that they had last year. Challenging guys responding to those challenges with production, and then the team ultimately growing better because of that. If Devin Booker can return to the guy that we saw shooting threes in the 2021-22 season, and then a little bit of 22-23, especially from the pull-ups in particular, that shifts a lot for the ceiling of that starting unit. Because if he's coming off, he's pulling up and he's knocking down those threes and pick and roll that we've seen him do before, it changes a lot. That shifts the entire defense and the way you have to look at guarding him and what it entails for shot quality off of it.
Guys who can shoot, guys who are willing to shoot. And there's somebody else, another name that you didn't say this time, you said in our video, and I'm not going to tease it, but when you watched the video that you and I had when we were talking about Miles Bridges and his fit with the Suns, there was a name you threw out there, somebody who could start taking threes in the future because there are examples of other people
you gotta watch that
doing
video,
that
though.
in their respective careers. We're coming up on 2 hours here, and we haven't seen or known much. We appreciate each and every one of you who have been hanging out with us for the past 2 hours during this free agent frenzy.
Friends hanging out. Friends hanging out with the PH. Which, by the way, if the Suns make a deal, if they sign somebody, even if it's 5 minutes after we get off, we'll be back for an emergency pod, and we'll be back live tomorrow at 3.
If you guys have anything that you have to do this evening and you want the Suns to make a move, go do that, and then that's when it'll happen. You got an Aaron, Toronto.
You guys got a men's league game to
play?
play?
You telling me that or you telling
It's you two.
It's really actually us two.
Yeah, it's you two. It doesn't
eat.
matter what I'm doing.
If we got something to fix around the apartment, something to set up, something to build, as soon as we start that is when the Suns are going to do something.
Yes,
so,
go watch a movie, turn your phone off.
Yeah, that's basically how it goes. So whenever it does happen, first thank us for us doing whatever it did for it to happen. Actually, yeah. Why'd you say that? Well,
I'm being honest.
Yeah, you're being honest because you understand how this works because we've been there and seen it enough times. But as I was saying,
45 minutes away.
Appreciate each and every one of you who have been hanging out with us. If you have not already, make sure to like, subscribe the video. Keep it locked in with us here at PHNX Sports. We got way more coming for you throughout free agency, the offseason, and this time next week we'll be gearing up for Summer League. The Suns get going in Summer League next Friday, and they begin their 4-game slate out in Las Vegas.
Got some post games coming for you all.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get back in that season-long cadence. We'll see some Koa Pete hoops and hopefully see Kamal Mala watch Rasheer Fleming dominate so much that we won't see them play that much. But until then, we've got everything in the lead-up, and hopefully we're reacting to some signings and talking about how guys fit in with the Suns in the near future. As always, you can follow the Freckled Mamba at Freckled Mamba. You can follow Steven at StevenPG3, and that's Steven with the PH just like
dudes in bucket hats can definitely hoop. Come out at me.
Yeah. Bucket hat. They don't let you wear a bucket hat if you don't get bucket. That's why you've never seen me with a bucket hat on. I'm still working on that. You can follow me, though, at Gil McGregor with an underscore. You can follow Eric at ERIKRUBY. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. And one more time, if and when the Suns make a move, we will be here for you to break it all down. We'll be back here, same time, same place. Actually, no, we'll be back here at 3 o'clock, normal time, tomorrow, 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock on the East Coast for my people out there as well. Catch you then.
Appreciate y'all.
We all silly like the mayor.